Chapter 444. However, there were also heavenly venerates who were inexperienced. For example, the heavenly venerate powerhouses who had just ascended in the past 100,000 years were the weakest and inexperienced. Due to their carelessness, they had almost been killed by the mysterious underworld heavenly venerate. If it hadn't been for their desperate defense and the help of others, more than a dozen heavenly venerates would have died. Even so, after the mysterious underworld heavenly venerate was annihilated, 3 early-stage heavenly venerates of the human race had died and 7 heavenly venerates had been seriously injured. This outcome made Yi Tianzong, who had just descended from the 9 heavens, gloomy. The other heavenly venerates trembled in fear and didn't dare say anything. Damn it! Yi Tianzong wasn't the only one who was flustered after being beaten up like this. Even they felt a little embarrassed. The 3 people who died contributed greatly to the human race. No one can invade or humiliate their territories and descendants for the next 500,000 years. If no new heavenly venerate inherits their legacy after 500,000 years, their territories will be returned to the heavenly court. Everyone will fight using their own methods. Also, the descendants and territories of godly kings and great emperors who died in a war between the races are not to be invaded or humiliated for 20,000 years. The descendants and territories of great emperors are not to be invaded or humiliated for 70,000 years. Anyone who dares to disobey will be punished according to the human race. This order will be passed down to the human race. Yi Tianzong suppressed the anger in his heart and said slowly, "Yes, great heavenly venerate, vast expanse is merciful." Most of the human heavenly venerates present bowed slightly to Yi Tianzong to show their respect. Yi Tianzong's order was equivalent to relieving them of their worries. These human heavenly venerates expressed their gratitude to Yi Tianzong from the bottom of their hearts. Besides Yi Tianzong, none of them had the qualifications, strength, or prestige to issue such an order. The supreme heavenly venerate was not present. Although Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu were only grand heavenly venerates, they had the strength to kill a supreme heavenly venerate. In addition, Yi Tianzong, Yi Haoren, Yi Haoyun, Yi Xianchen, and more than a dozen other heavenly venerates were on the same side as the supreme heavenly venerate. It could be said that Yi Tianzong had the strength, qualifications, and prestige to issue such an order. No one dared to disobey. What Yi Tianzong didn't know was that after the other heavenly venerates returned and passed on Yi Tianzong's order to all the major forces and powerhouses of the human race, countless human powerhouses were deeply grateful to Yi Tianzong. Yi Tianzong's order was what they were most worried about when they went on expeditions. Yi Tianzong's reputation among the human race soared once again. Without any worries, the combat strength of the human race's army increased significantly. They tore through the defensive lines of the mysterious underworld race, the gold-cracking race, and the Gulyuo race and directly attacked the territory of the foreign races. Almost all the godly king realm experts of the gold-cracking race, the Gulyuo race, the mysterious underworld race, and the Silver Moon race were killed by the human race, except for a few who were lucky enough to escape to the territories of other races. Countless beings of the gold-cracking race, the Gulyuo race, the mysterious underworld race, and the Silver Moon race were killed or submitted to the human race's rule. The human race's army was also rapidly occupying the territories of the 4 races. Time flew by and 500 years passed. The human race continued to exterminate the resistance of the gold-cracking race, the Gulyuo race, the mysterious underworld race, and the Silver Moon race. Gradually, the human race gained control of the territories of the 4 races. After gaining full control of the territories of the 4 races, the human race's huge territory nearly doubled again. It now spanned 2 quadrillion miles from east to west and 1 quadrillion miles from north to south. In terms of territory size and strength, the human race had already surpassed the Earth God race and the Metaspirit race, which were ranked ahead of the mysterious underworld race. It was enough to rank 6th or even 5th among the 10,000 races. The ancient royal family, which ranked 6th, and the 9 heavens phoenix race, which ranked 5th, both had at least 2 supreme heavenly venerates and more than 50 ancient heavenly venerates. After occupying a vast territory, what the human race needed the most now was to recuperate and properly digest the newly occupied territories. They also needed to convert the boundless resources of the territories into strength. After redividing their territories, the human race's heavenly venerate powerhouses went into seclusion again. They wouldn't go to war again for the next 200,000 years. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu were no exception. They had already walked very far in the great heavenly venerate realm. They were very confident that they would be able to cultivate the 3 lifetimes secret technique and 3 corpses secret technique during this period of seclusion and advance to the supreme heavenly venerate realm. At that time, their strength would take a huge leap. They would be able to move unhindered across the great 1,000 worlds and dominate the past, present, and future. The human race stopped and began to recuperate. The Earth God race and the Meta-Spirit race, which bordered the new territories of the human race, also gradually relaxed. The human race's strength had increased greatly. They had exterminated the Blood Demon race and the mysterious Underworld race, 2 powerful races with supreme heavenly venerates. This made the Earth God race and the Meta-Spirit race very nervous. They didn't want to start a war with the human race now. In the great 1,000 worlds of the myriad races, it had always been survival of the fittest. The strong would live and the weak would die. The rise and fall of races, as well as war and defense, would never change. The human race was constantly developing and strengthening. The Earth God race, the Meta-Spirit race, the Ancient Royal race, the 9 Heavens Phoenix race, and so on were constantly expanding and increasing the strength of their races. While the human race was attacking the mysterious Underworld race, the Earth God race and the Meta-Spirit race were also attacking other races in an attempt to obtain a wider territory, more resources, and more destiny. Unlike the human race, which had Yi Tianzong and the other 2 who could execute forbidden mystic abilities to quickly kill supreme heavenly venerates, the supreme heavenly venerates of the Earth God race and the Meta-Spirit race didn't have the strength or means to quickly eliminate powerhouses of the same level. While they were anxious about their respective battles, the human race had already rapidly occupied the mysterious Underworld race's territory. The Earth God race and the Meta-Spirit race were afraid that the human race wouldn't be satisfied and would continue to wage war. Thus, they urgently mobilized a large number of powerhouses and deployed them at the border of the human race's territory. After seeing that the human race had no intention of continuing to attack, the Earth Gods and the Meta-Spirit race were no longer as nervous as before, and they focused more of their attention on the ongoing battle. Time flew by and 10,000 years passed. It had been 160,000 years since Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu had entered seclusion. Yi Tianzong and the other 2 had already spent more than 1.3 million years in the immortal mansion. The 3 of them were wholeheartedly comprehending the laws of heaven and earth in the cultivation area of the immortal mansion. After they gained something, they entered the realm battlefield in the trial space and fought against the supreme heavenly venerates of the human race, the celestial race, the ancient race, the gray race, the demon race, the blood race, the dragon race, the phoenix race, the spirit race, and the underworld race. Because the 3 of them were only great heavenly venerates but had the strength of a supreme heavenly venerate, they attracted the attention of the supreme heavenly venerates of the 10 great races who wanted to pry into their secrets. As a result, Yi Tianzong and the other 2 became rats on the street that everyone wanted to beat up. They engaged in one life and death battle after another with the supreme heavenly venerates of the 10 great races. During the life and death battles with the supreme heavenly venerates, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu's foundation became stronger and stronger. The endless potential in their bodies was constantly unleashed. Their strength increased step by step, and their comprehension of the laws of heaven and earth became faster and faster. After 1.3 3 million years in the immortal mansion, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu successively cultivated the final future self-body of the 3 lifetimes secret technique. In this way, the 3 lifetimes secret technique and 3 corpses secret technique were both cultivated to greater mastery. Only the final 3 corpses as one and 3 lifetimes as one were left to break through to the supreme heavenly venerate realm. Moreover, the 3 of them had also comprehended 99% of the laws of heaven and earth. Once they comprehended more than 99% of the laws of heaven and earth, they would be able to break through to the supreme heavenly venerate realm. The further one comprehended the laws of heaven and earth, the harder it was to comprehend them. This was especially true after comprehending 90% of the laws of heaven and earth. Every improvement was extremely difficult, as if there was a chasm in front of them. More than 99% of the laws of heaven and earth were the domains of supreme heavenly venerates, which was the limit of a pinnacle great thousand world. More than 99% of the laws of heaven and earth required an unimaginable amount of energy and time to advance even a little. The difference between 99% and 100% was divided into 10 small steps. Many supreme heavenly venerates in the myriad races' great thousand world would find it difficult to take a small step even after spending hundreds of millions of years. Most supreme heavenly venerates would remain in the first or second small steps ever since they ascended. There were very few supreme heavenly venerates who could reach the third or fourth small step. They were ancient existences that had lived for billions of years. For example, Yi Tianzong estimated that the Void Supreme Heavenly Venerate was stuck in the second small step. The mysterious Underworld Supreme Heavenly Venerate was also stuck in the second small step. There was a slight difference in strength between the two of them, but it wasn't obvious. A Supreme Heavenly Venerate who had reached the third small step would be stronger than the Void Supreme Heavenly Venerate, but he would only be able to slightly suppress the Void Supreme Heavenly Venerate in battle. He wouldn't be able to form an obvious advantage over the Void Supreme Heavenly Venerate. Every small step forward in the Supreme Heavenly Venerate realm was extremely difficult, and the difference in strength between each small step wasn't great. Therefore, it was very difficult to determine the outcome of a battle between Supreme Heavenly Venerates in a short period of time, and it was also very difficult to cause fatal injuries to the other party. Yi Tianzong guessed that if the 3 of them broke through to the Supreme Heavenly Venerate realm by comprehending the laws of heaven and earth, they would be able to make use of an immense amount of power to surpass the first small step and the second small step and rush into the third small step or even the fourth small step. At that time, the 3 of them would be able to combine their powers to execute a forbidden mystic ability. Almost no one in the myriad races' great thousand world would be a match for them. Time passed slowly. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu returned to the cultivation area after escaping from the encirclement of the supreme heavenly venerates of the 10 major races. They focused on comprehending the laws of heaven and earth. Yi Tianzong needed to comprehend 108 types of laws of heaven and earth, while Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu each needed to comprehend 27 types of laws of heaven and earth. The difficulty of comprehending so many types of laws of heaven and earth was thousands of times higher than comprehending 7 or 8 types of laws of heaven and earth. If Yi Tianzong hadn't had a supreme opportunity like the immortal mansion, he wouldn't have been able to comprehend so many laws of heaven and earth even if he waited until the end of the world. As time passed, the auras of Yi Tianzong, Shen Yu, and Shen Yu became stronger and stronger. Dazzling rays of light erupted from their bodies. This was a sign that the 3 of them were about to break through to the supreme heavenly venerate realm. There was no need to go through the heavenly venerate tribulation to break through to the supreme heavenly venerate realm, because the supreme heavenly venerate realm was also in the category of heavenly venerate. However, to become a supreme heavenly venerate, one had to face the Tao heart trial of the heavenly Tao. Only after confirming that one didn't have any ill intentions towards the world could one break through to the supreme heavenly venerate realm. Because the strength and destructive power of a supreme heavenly venerate was too great and too difficult to kill, any powerhouse who wanted to become a supreme heavenly venerate had to show that they didn't have any ill intentions towards the world and wouldn't destroy the world. Otherwise, once the heavenly Tao sensed that they had the intention of destroying the world, they would definitely face the ruthless destruction of the heavenly Tao. Even a true supreme heavenly venerate would find it difficult to survive the ruthless suppression of the heavenly Tao, let alone a great heavenly venerate that hadn't yet become one. The Tao heart trial was naturally not a problem for Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu. Chapter 445. The divine light on Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu's bodies grew brighter and brighter, illuminating millions of miles of heaven and earth. To become a supreme heavenly venerate, one had to be interrogated by the heavenly Tao. Naturally, it could not be done in the immortal mansion. Therefore, Yi Tianzong and the other two used their remaining consciousness to leave the immortal mansion and appear in the heavens expanse heavenly palace at the critical moment. Yi Tianzong's doppelganger, who had long known about his true body's current state, immediately ordered the entire heavens expanse heavenly palace to be sealed off. 1 billion soldiers and 10,000 great emperors formed layers of defensive formations. 10 heavenly venerate experts, including Yi Haoren, Yi Haoyun, and Yi Xianlin, rushed to the heavens expanse heavenly palace to protect Yi Tianzong and the other two. Such a huge commotion naturally attracted the attention of the other heavenly venerates in the heavenly court. However, Yi Haoren and the others were very alert. Therefore, the other heavenly venerates only watched in secret and did not show themselves. However, judging from such an abnormal commotion, the other heavenly venerates of the human clan gradually made some guesses. Year after year passed. The light on Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu's bodies grew brighter and brighter, penetrating the space and illuminating the sky. The increasingly powerful aura also spread throughout the central heavenly court. At that time, all the human clan heavenly venerates knew that great heavenly venerate's vast expanse and Shen Yu were about to become supreme heavenly venerate. Everyone was looking forward to it excitedly. The more supreme heavenly venerates there were in the human clan, the stronger the human clan would be, and the safer it would be in the great thousand world. Everyone hoped that Yi Tianzong and the other two would succeed. Once Yi Tianzong and the other two successfully broke through to become supreme heavenly venerates, the human clan's power would take a huge leap. The most excited person was none other than great heavenly venerate Xingyang. He clearly remembered that Yi Tianzong had said that he would tell him the method to quickly break through after he became a supreme heavenly venerate. A secret technique to quickly break through to the supreme heavenly venerate. Just thinking about it made him excited. Auspicious splendor stretched for thousands of miles, golden lotuses sprouted from the ground, and auspicious clouds covered the sky. The divine splendor illuminated the universe for billions of miles, and the 3 supreme heavenly pillars that connected the 9 heavens and the netherworld stirred up the wind and clouds in space. A boundless river of destiny emerged from the void and revolved around the 3 mighty figures. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu finally passed the trial of the heavenly Tao and successfully transcended the river of destiny, using the laws of heaven and earth to ascend to the supreme heavenly venerate realm. Their imposing figures were reflected in the river of time, illuminating the past, present, and future. The supreme might of a god and a saint spread across the universe. All the humans in the vast human territory felt an inexplicable pressure, but at the same time, they felt a kind of joy from the bottom of their hearts. A mysterious message appeared in the minds of all the living beings of the human race, the emergence of a supreme heavenly venerate. However, this was not the end. Under the dazzling divine light that was invisible to outsiders, the past, present, and future bodies of Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu appeared respectively. Then, the bodies of the three lives revolved slowly around the bodies of the three people in the heaven, earth, and human tripartite array. Every time they revolved, they would merge into the bodies of the three people. As time passed, the bodies of Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu finally merged perfectly into the bodies of the three people after a year. After the three bodies had completely merged with their original bodies, the supreme and terrifying aura of the three of them had soared once again. The vast and boundless divine might of the heavens enveloped an even more vast and boundless space. The golden clouds expanded rapidly, covering the vast expanse of the world within a radius of 10 billion miles. However, this was not the end. After the bodies of the three people completely merged into the bodies of the three people, the good corpses, evil corpses, and self-corpses of Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu also appeared. They then turned into tricolored balls of light, respectively enveloping Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu. As the human experts in the outside world waited in confusion, a year passed. The already terrifying auras of Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu crazily soared once again. The boundless heavens might strengthened again and again, even spreading to the borders of the human race. The golden clouds expanded to a radius of 1 trillion kilometers. Boundless yuan qi golden lotuses appeared on the boundless earth, and large tracts of barren land in the human race's territory turned into blessed paradises. The density of the heaven-earth yuan qi in the blessed paradises increased by more than twofold. Countless cultivators of the human race broke through their current realms as if they were being assisted by a deity amidst this vast phenomenon of heaven and earth. Countless human beings who were originally unable to cultivate suddenly gained the talent to cultivate as if they were enlightened. In the central heavenly court, everyone in the heavenly court, including the heavenly venerables, could barely stand under the shocking auras of Yi Tianzong and the other two people. They were so shocked and horrified that they could not speak. The instigators of all this, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu, were carefully comprehending their realms. As they had expected, the three of them had borrowed the supreme power of the three lives mystic technique and the three corpses mystic technique to break through to the supreme heavenly venerate realm. They had skipped the first, second, and third small steps, and had just reached the fourth small step. In just a few years, their comprehension of the various laws of heaven and earth had reached more than 94% at an incomprehensible speed. In layman's terms, it was more than 94%. In terms of overall strength, Yi Tianzong and the other two people's strength had soared dozens of times after breaking through to the supreme heavenly venerate realm. The supreme Tao Yuan in their bodies was endless, and there was almost no danger of it running out. They could borrow the power of heaven and earth, and command the laws of heaven and earth. It was no wonder that everyone below the supreme heavenly venerate was considered an ant. Their Tao Yuan was far more powerful than that of a great heavenly venerate. Just by controlling the power of heaven and earth, and being able to mobilize the power of heaven and earth, and command the laws of heaven and earth, they were not existences that great heavenly venerates could shake. Making an enemy of a supreme heavenly venerate was making an enemy of heaven and earth. Only after truly reaching the supreme heavenly venerate realm did Yi Tianzong deeply understand how lucky and unbelievable it was to be able to eliminate the supreme heavenly venerates of the blood demon race and the mysterious underworld race. He reckoned that the supreme heavenly venerates of the blood demon race and the mysterious underworld race had indeed died unjustly. The supreme heavenly venerate of the blood demon race had been careless from the start. He hadn't expected that Yi Tianzong and the other two, who were only great heavenly venerates, would be so powerful. He had been injured from the start, and Yi Tianzong and the other two had used their forbidden mystic abilities to take his life. He simply hadn't had time to use the power of a supreme heavenly venerate. If the supreme heavenly venerate of the blood demon race had borrowed the power of heaven and earth to deal with Yi Tianzong and the other two from the start, It would have been unknown whether he could have killed the supreme heavenly venerate of the blood demon race. As for the supreme heavenly venerate of the mysterious underworld race, he hadn't been aware of Yi Tianzong and the other two's ultimate moves. At the same time, he had been restrained by the supreme heavenly venerate of the void and had been killed by Yi Tianzong and the other two's forbidden mystic abilities. It could only be said that the enemy had been a little careless in their previous brilliant battle record, and Yi Tianzong and the other two had been a little lucky. After experiencing the strength of a supreme heavenly venerate in all aspects, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu gathered their thoughts and slowly dispersed the phenomenon that had covered the sky. Then, the three of them appeared before the eyes of all the human heavenly venerates. Congratulations to the Boundless Expanse Supreme Heavenly Venerate, the New Moon Supreme Heavenly Venerate, and the Shen Yu Supreme Heavenly Venerate. Apart from the Supreme Heavenly Venerate of the Void and Yi Haoran, the rest of the human heavenly venerate powerhouses bowed and congratulated Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu. Yi Tianzong's calm voice reverberated between heaven and earth. Congratulations, everyone. My wife and I have just broken through and still need to consolidate our realm. In 1,000 years, I will be lecturing the human race on the cultivation path in the boundless heavenly palace. All peak great emperors and above are welcome to come. As soon as Yi Tianzong finished speaking, great heavenly venerate Xingyang said somewhat impatiently, "Thank you, supreme heavenly venerate of the boundless heavenly venerate. I will definitely be there." "Alright, everyone, please go back." After saying that, Yi Tianzong nodded at the supreme heavenly venerate of the void and then disappeared into the sky with Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu. Great heavenly venerate Xingyang, do you know something? Why do you want to participate in the sermon in 1,000 years? Logically speaking, even a supreme heavenly venerate's sermon shouldn't be of much help to us heavenly venerates, right? Heavenly venerate Wanlei asked great heavenly venerate Xingyang doubtfully. As soon as he said that, the rest of the heavenly venerate powerhouses who had yet to leave were moved. Indeed, why was great heavenly venerate Xingyang so excited? Great heavenly venerate Xingyang was already second only to a supreme heavenly venerate. Logically speaking, a supreme heavenly venerate's sermon shouldn't be of much help to him, so why was he so excited? Great heavenly venerate Xingyang said mysteriously, "Ha ha, I can't say. You will know when the time comes." After saying that, great heavenly venerate Xingyang left happily. After returning to the Xingyang heavenly palace, great heavenly venerate Xingyang activated the defensive array of the Xingyang heavenly palace and sat down at the place where he usually cultivated. He couldn't suppress his joy. The reason he was so happy was because a piece of golden sky book had appeared in his mind when Yi Tianzong and the other two had disappeared. When his spiritual consciousness came into contact with the golden sky book, a huge amount of mysterious golden text with a huge amount of information swept through great heavenly venerate Xingyang's mind. After great heavenly venerate Xingyang digested all the information in his mind, he couldn't help but laugh heartily. The three-corpse mystic technique can sever good, evil, and self-obsession and attach them to treasures of the same origin to form the three-corpse clones. Every time a corpse is severed, the speed of comprehending nomological laws will increase by at least 50% and the power of the main body will also break through a boundary. The three-corpse / will allow the main body to enter the great nirvana state of the union of heaven and man. The speed of comprehending nomological laws will increase by more than 10 times. Finally, the three-corpse fusion will allow the cultivator to break through to the supreme heavenly venerate level with the help of the supreme power of the three-corpse fusion. Wonderful, too wonderful. The boundless supreme heavenly venerate is indeed a supreme talent of the human race. He has created an era where the human race is rapidly rising. Great heavenly venerate Xingyang was filled with amazement and excitement. Hurry up and comprehend it. After 1,000 years, I will strive to sever a corpse during the supreme heavenly venerate's sermon. Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang immediately began to comprehend the mysteries of the three-corpse mystic technique. Chapter 446. 1,000 years passed quickly. Due to Great Heavenly Venerable Xingyang's mysterious words, most of the human clans, peak great emperors, and heavenly venerables gathered in the heavens expanse heavenly palace. After Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu became supreme heavenly venerables, they spent some time refining the heavens expanse heavenly palace. From the outside, the heavens expanse heavenly palace only covered an area of 1,000 miles. However, the interior of the heavens expanse heavenly palace was a vast space with a radius of 100,000 miles. After becoming a supreme heavenly venerable, the supreme Tao body of a heavenly venerable would be upgraded to a supreme Tao body. The supreme Tao energy would be transformed into a more powerful supreme Tao energy, and the supreme God soul would be upgraded to a supreme God soul. However, the supreme Tao body was not something that could be condensed with time. It would gradually be perfected as the strength of a supreme heavenly venerable increased. A perfect supreme Tao body would only be condensed when one's comprehension of the laws of heaven and earth reached 100%. In the heavens expanse heavenly palace's main hall, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu sat at the highest position. The supreme heavenly venerable void also came and sat at the same level as Yi Tianzong and the other two. However, he was on Yi Tianzong's left while Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu were on Yi Tianzong's right. The rest of the human clan's heavenly venerables were seated lower than Yi Tianzong, Shen Yu, and the supreme heavenly venerable void. Even Yi Haoran and the others were no exception. All the peak great emperors who came sat in the main hall. Each of them sat on a futon that was filled with nomological aura. Yi Tianzong waved his hand to activate the heavens expanse heavenly palace's defensive formation after seeing that everyone was seated. In an instant, the entire heavens expanse heavenly palace seemed to have formed a different world from the outside space. Then, he said, 1,000 years have passed. I'll begin my preaching. However, this preaching is of great importance and cannot be leaked. Therefore, I've cut off the connection between the heavens expanse heavenly palace and the outside world. This lecture will last for 300 years. In the first 30 years, I will talk about the early stages of the Great Emperor realm to the peak of the Great Emperor realm, as well as things to take note of when breaking through to the Heavenly Venerable realm. In the middle 200 years, I will talk about the Celestial Lord's path of cultivation and pass down the three corpses mystic technique. In the last 70 years, I will answer your questions. How much you can get depends on your own luck. After Yi Tianzong finished speaking, he began to explain the Tao of cultivation, starting from the early Great Emperor realm. The higher the level, the more difficult it would be to comprehend the laws of heaven and earth. Yi Tianzong explained some things to pay attention to in the Great Emperor realm, such as how to comprehend the laws of heaven and earth faster, how to lay the most solid foundation, how to increase the chances of breaking through to the Celestial Master realm, and so on. Tens of thousands of peak great emperors in Heaven Palace's hall listened to Yi Tianzong's narration with joy. A supreme celestial lord was personally explaining to these great emperors how to lay down the foundation and how to increase the chances of breaking through to the Empyrean realm. This was an opportunity that they could only dream of. None of the peak great emperors were distracted. All of them memorized every word that Yi Tianzong said. 30 days passed quickly. Yi Tianzong stopped his lecture and allowed the peak great emperors in the hall to digest the information. After 10 days, Yi Tianzong continued, "The path of becoming a heavenly lord is difficult and bumpy. Every step forward requires great perseverance, resources, and luck. However, there's still the supreme celestial lord above the ancient celestial lord. From the early ancient celestial lord to the supreme celestial lord, the amount of perseverance, wisdom, resources, luck, time, and opportunities are unimaginable. I felt that the path of becoming a heavenly lord was difficult. Therefore, I spent a lot of effort with my cultivation partner. With the help of the heavens and earth, I created the three corpses mystic technique that allows one to cultivate to the Supreme Celestial Lord quickly. Thanks to this mystic technique, the three of us finally broke through to the Supreme Celestial Lord in less than 1,000,000 years. When Yi Tianzong said this, the 93 human race heavenly venerates in Heaven Palace's hall started breathing rapidly. Their eyes were blazing as they stared at Yi Tianzong. Even Supreme Heavenly Venerate Void was staring at Yi Tianzong motionlessly. In addition to the human race's heavenly venerates, the tens of thousands of peak great emperors sitting below were also in an uproar. They hadn't expected to hear such an incredible secret. Although they weren't heavenly venerates, this didn't prevent them from knowing the importance of this secret. Once this news spread, it would definitely shock the entire great thousand world of the myriad races. It would definitely be a major event that would affect the past, present, and future. Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang smiled as though he had already expected this. The three corpses mystic technique of the boundless Supreme Heavenly Venerate is simply unimaginable. It has stunned the past, present, and future and created a new era. Upon hearing this, all the human race's heavenly venerates stared at Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang. The meaning in their eyes was very obvious. How did you know? When did you know? Why didn't you say so earlier? Humph! Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang was very proud and arrogant as he ignored the scrutinizing and jealous gazes of the other heavenly venerates. Yi Tianzong paused for a moment before continuing. Since ancient times, the only way to break through from Heavenly Venerate Gu 1 to Supreme Celestial Venerate was to comprehend the laws of heaven and earth over a long period of time. However, this method takes too much time and the laws of heaven and earth are obscure and dim. It's very difficult to comprehend them. Therefore, breaking through to the Supreme Celestial Venerate is still far away. Previously, the human race could only use the Supreme Void to advance. There are all kinds of desires in the human body, and these desires will become obstacles in the path of cultivation. My three corpses mystic technique is to sever all kinds of desires in the human body, including good thoughts, evil thoughts, and self-obsession. These three desires are placed on treasures to form the good corpse, evil corpse, and self-obsession corpse. Every time a corpse is severed, the speed of comprehending the laws of heaven and earth will increase by more than 50%. At the same time, the body's strength will increase greatly. After severing the three corpses, the body will enter the union of heaven and man's state of nirvana. The speed of comprehending the laws of heaven and earth will increase by more than 10 times. Finally, when the three corpses merge into one's body, it will produce an incredible power that will allow one to break through to the Supreme Celestial Venerate realm. As long as one can survive the interrogation of the heavenly Tao, one will be able to transcend the river of destiny and become a true Supreme Celestial Venerate. Severing the three corpses was a shortcut, but it also required great wisdom and perseverance. In addition, the treasures needed to sever the three corpses were the best innate treasures. Artificially refined heavenly venerate treasures were also fine. If one wanted to successfully merge the three corpses, one would need to find treasures with similar origins. The power and level of the treasures also determined the strength after severing the three corpses. Next, I will explain the cultivation method of the three corpses mystic technique to you. Yi Tianzong's lecture lasted for 200 years. Not only did he explain how to cultivate the three corpses mystic technique and what to pay attention to, but he also introduced his own division of treasures between heaven and earth. All the heavenly venerates and great emperors in the palace of heaven tried their best to remember every word that Yi Tianzong said. This was a great opportunity that had never been seen before. It might not happen again in the future. If they didn't seize the opportunity to remember it now, they would definitely regret it to death. A Supreme Celestial Venerate wouldn't be so bored as to preach to others again and again. They didn't even have enough time for their own cultivation. After 200 years, Yi Tianzong explained the three corpses mystic technique in detail. As soon as he finished, a burst of aura erupted from Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang, who had been listening with his eyes closed. Then, a white mist appeared from his body and attached itself to Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang's Xingyang Divine Sword. With a flash of brilliance, the Xingyang Divine Sword disappeared and a white-robed, golden-eyed man appeared. He exuded the powerful aura of a mid-stage Heavenly Venerate and looked 90% similar to Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang. "Good corpse Saint Heart greets me." The white-robed, golden-eyed man cupped his hands and greeted Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang. "Haha, you and I are one. You don't have to be so polite. Return to my body first," Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang said happily. "Yes, Great Heavenly Venerate." After that, the good corpse Saint Heart formed by the Xingyang Divine Sword merged into Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang's body. Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang closed his eyes and sensed the situation in his body, as well as the state of comprehending nomological laws. The rest of the human Heavenly Venerates also understood that Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang had severed the good corpse on the spot. They all looked at him eagerly, hoping to know the effects of the three corpses' mystic technique from him. Even the great emperors below were looking at Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang with anticipation. After a long time, Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang opened his eyes and said happily, "The power in my body has increased by 30%. The speed of comprehending the laws has more than doubled. The good corpse also has the strength of a mid-stage Heavenly Venerate and can continue to improve through cultivation." Boom! Hearing Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang's words, the Heavenly Venerates and Great Emperors in the Heaven's Expanse Heavenly Palace were in an uproar. This was a real example. They had to believe that the three corpses' mystic technique was more powerful than what Yi Tianzong had said. A Great Heavenly Venerate's power had increased by 30% after severing one corpse. If it had been an early stage or mid-stage Heavenly Venerate, it would have directly broken through a small realm. Yi Tianzong smiled and continued, "Next, if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Great Heavenly Venerate will answer all of you. Each person is limited to one question. No fighting, no chaos." Reporting to the Supreme Heavenly Venerate of the Heaven's Expanse, In the following time, Yi Tianzong answered some of the doubts of the human race's Heavenly Venerates and Great Emperors about the cultivation process, as well as questions about the three corpses' mystic technique. 70 years later, the 300-year period was up. Yi Tianzong drew a mysterious seal in the void and then waved his hand. The seal turned into tens of thousands of seals and directly entered the minds of the tens of thousands of great emperors below. Looking at the tens of thousands of people who were a little flustered and confused, Yi Tianzong said in a serious tone, "The 300-year period is up. Great Heavenly Venerate's preaching is over. However, Great Heavenly Venerate cannot be imparted easily. The three corpses' mystic technique is the secret of the human race's destiny. It must not be known to any other race. What entered your minds just now was the soul seal that I set up. This seal will not affect your cultivation, nor will it control you. It is only to prevent you from imparting my technique to others or from being found out by the Heavenly Venerates of other races through a soul search. When you become a Heavenly Venerate, swear on your Tao heart that you will not harm the human race, and the seal will disappear. However, I will also give you a chance. If you are unable to become a Heavenly Venerate, you can impart the technique to your descendants. However, you can only impart it to 2 people at most. Do you have any objections?" The tens of thousands of great emperors at the pinnacle of the Heavenly Venerate realm looked much better. They then said, "Thank you, Supreme Heavenly Venerate. We have no objections." "All right." Yi Tianzong turned his head to look at the Supreme Heavenly Venerate of the Void and said, "Supreme Heavenly Venerate of the Void, what do you think of this?" The Supreme Heavenly Venerate of the Void said calmly, It is already a great favor to allow you to listen to such a secret technique. If anyone is displeased, I will definitely punish them severely. Do you understand? Yes, we understand. The tens of thousands of great emperors at the pinnacle of the void answered fearfully under the awe-inspiring aura of the supreme heavenly venerate of the void. The supreme heavenly lord of the void nodded his head slightly before saying, "The supreme heavenly lord of the boundless expanse has created a heaven-defying technique and is now imparting his Tao to the human tribe to usher in a new era for the human tribe. He is worthy of being the human tribe's Tao master." Any objections? The rest of the human heavenly masters thought about it for a while and did not object. Hence, they bowed towards Yi Tianzong and said, "Greetings, heaven's expanse holy man, greetings to the heaven's expanse holy man." The tens of thousands of peak stage great emperors greeted Yi Tianzong in unison. Yi Tianzong was stunned, but he did not decline. He was worthy of this title, so he said, "From now on, the three corpses mystic technique will be listed as a secret of the human race. In the Great Emperor contest, that occurs once every 20,000 years, the winner of the 4 sovereigns and 8 sovereigns will be taught the three corpses mystic technique by the heavenly court. I hope that all of you will work hard in your cultivation and expand the territory of the human race in the future." "Yes, I will follow your orders." 10 Steps of the Supreme Exalted Celestial. The three corpses combine is also somewhat useful for Supreme Exalted Celestials. When everyone left, Yi Tianzong's voice reached the ears of the Supreme Exalted Celestial in the void. Only he could hear it. Looking at the empty heavenly palace, Yi Tianzong's thoughts were running wild. He had just played the role of the Tao ancestor in the legends of the first generation on Earth. He had accidentally become a Tao master of the human race. It felt pretty good. Next, the human race would begin a new era of cultivation. The strength of the heavenly masters would welcome another explosion. It would not be long before the next war. Yi Tianzong thought, then waved his hand and sent out a message. He stood in the heaven's expanse heavenly palace and waited quietly. When all the great emperors of the 2 heavenly court branches under the heaven's expanse heavenly palace, as well as Li Yu, Han Su, and those who had followed him for a long time, arrived, Yi Tianzong activated the defensive formation of the heaven's expanse heavenly palace again. He explained the cultivation methods of the great emperors and heavenly masters to these people. Not only did he answer their questions about cultivation, but he also passed down the three corpses mystic technique and distributed countless Tier 7 and Tier 8 divine pills. It was not until 500 years later that these people left the heaven's expanse heavenly palace with excited expressions. After announcing that he would go into seclusion again, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu entered the immortal mansion again. Hugging the 2 peerless goddesses, Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu, Yi Tianzong said softly, 10 steps of the Supreme Exalted Celestial. Every step forward is too difficult. Otherwise, the Supreme Exalted Celestial in the void would only be at the 2nd step after being a Supreme Exalted Celestial for more than 1 billion years. However, we have a faster way. In the past, the 10,000 source flowing crystals in the world battlefield were useless to us. Now, the 10,000 source flowing crystals are a shortcut for us to improve quickly. We have to get more 10,000 source flowing crystals. At the same time, it's time to settle accounts with those Supreme Exalted Celestials. Chapter 447. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu came to the world battlefield once again. This time, they had the strength to do as they pleased. The 3 of them wandered around the heavenly venerate area of the world battlefield openly. When they encountered heavenly venerates of foreign races or human race heavenly venerates who had hunted them down before, they killed them without any hesitation. They didn't seem like they were bullying the weak. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu didn't run away when they encountered the supreme heavenly venerates of the 10 major races. Instead, they fought the heavenly venerates who had surrounded them. The three of them were all fourth-step supreme heavenly venerate. In addition, they had comprehended many kinds of laws of heaven and earth, as well as various powerful great divine abilities. Hence, they could even fight against sixth-step and seventh-step supreme heavenly venerate. Therefore, although the three of them were at a disadvantage, they were still able to exchange blows with their enemies. Hundreds of supreme heavenly venerates couldn't do anything to Yi Tianzong and the other two. The two sides were in a stalemate as they fought. The fluctuations and range of the battle grew larger and larger, and more supreme heavenly venerates joined the battle. In the end, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu seized the rare opportunity to use the boundless infinitum, yin-yang combination forbidden divine ability to kill more than a dozen first-step and second-step supreme heavenly venerates before fleeing, leaving behind many shocked and disbelieving supreme heavenly venerates. After killing more than a dozen supreme heavenly venerates, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu didn't stop. Instead, they continued to wander around the world battlefield. When they encountered ancient heavenly venerates, supreme heavenly venerates, or human race heavenly venerates who had hunted them down before, the three of them didn't hesitate to kill them. Once they were surrounded by many supreme heavenly venerates, the three of them would immediately use their forbidden divine ability to kill some of the supreme heavenly venerates before fleeing and continuing their killing journey. Since you're all attacking us, we won't talk about rules with you. Let's see who can outlast the other in the end. In just 100 years, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu had slaughtered over 5,000 Empyreans and over 130 Supreme Empyreans in the world battlefield. The top forces of the 10 great races had suffered disastrous losses. The Empyreans of the various races in the Empyrean region of the world battlefield were all terrified of Yi Tianzong and the other two. They were so terrified that they almost didn't dare to enter the world battlefield. In the end, the supreme exalts of the 10 great races had no choice but to negotiate with Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu. It just so happened that most of the human race's supreme forces that had offended the three of them had been wiped out by them. The three of them also didn't want to continue being besieged by so many supreme heavenly venerates of the 10 great races. Therefore, after the negotiation, the remaining supreme heavenly venerates wouldn't join forces to attack Yi Tianzong and the other two. However, Yi Tianzong and the other two wouldn't take the initiative to hunt down the Empyreans of the various races, except for personal grudges. Since then, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu had completely dominated the world battlefield's Empyrean region. No one dared to offend Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu. Even the supreme heavenly venerates of the various races couldn't do anything to them. Only those who had reached the 9th or 10th step of the supreme heavenly venerate could contend with the three of them using their forbidden divine ability were their opponents. The invincible Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu freely searched the world battlefield for various primordial crystal and supreme-grade resource veins hidden underground. After tens of thousands of years, the three of them had found a total of 4 large primordial crystal veins, 10 medium primordial crystal veins, and 30 small primordial crystal veins. In addition, they had found more than 10 supreme-grade material veins. What made the three of them the happiest was that they had obtained a total of 6 myriad origin flowing crystals. Their respective cultivation realms, as well as their comprehension of the laws, had also advanced a little. The myriad origin flowing crystal was an extremely rare treasure in the world battlefield's Empyrean region. It was in the form of a 9-colored liquid and could absorb and gather the power of all things in the world, including the power of laws. All the power absorbed by the myriad origin flowing crystal would go through some incomprehensible method and eventually be converted into myriad origin power, which could increase the strength of a supreme heavenly venerate. The myriad origin flowing crystal would be randomly produced in the vast space of the Empyrean region. The time and location were all random. Furthermore, the divine object would conceal itself. Only when the myriad origin flowing crystal was born would it cause a million-mile phenomenon and reveal its location. After a quarter of an hour, the phenomenon dissipated and the myriad origin flowing crystal was completely born. It would then turn into an ordinary colored crystal and quietly exist in the place where it was born. Therefore, whether one could obtain the myriad origin flowing crystal or not depended entirely on one's luck. Yi Tianzong and the other two's luck was pretty good. After 30,000 years, they had obtained 6 myriad origin flowing crystals and their strength had improved a little. While Yi Tianzong and the other two were searching everywhere for myriad origin flowing crystals to increase their strength, the various heavenly venerates of the human race in the Great Thousand Domains were also doing their best to comprehend the three-corpse mystic technique and increase their strength. At the same time, the peak great emperors and heavenly venerates who had listened to Yi Tianzong's teachings were doing their best to collect supreme-grade materials and all kinds of rare treasures. It was too difficult to become a supreme heavenly venerate. Many heavenly venerates did not have extravagant hopes of becoming a supreme heavenly venerate. However, with the three-corpse mystic technique, as long as the three-corpse mystic technique was severed, there was still a high chance of becoming a great heavenly venerate. The top powerhouses of the entire human race were racing against time to increase their strength. It was foreseeable that after this wave of increase in strength was over, the number and strength of the human race's heavenly venerates would soar greatly. In the realm battlefield of the immortal mansion, Great Heavenly Venerate Ethereal and Great Heavenly Venerate Qing Xian entered the realm battlefield once again and continued to search for myriad origin flowing crystals. Previously, Great Heavenly Venerate Ethereal had fought with a divine race Heavenly Venerate Powerhouse for a piece of myriad origin flowing crystal. This had allowed his and Great Heavenly Venerate Qing Xian's strength to break through and approach the threshold of becoming a supreme heavenly venerate. At most, they only needed 2 more pieces of myriad origin flowing crystals for them to have a high chance of becoming a supreme heavenly venerate. Although myriad origin flowing crystals were very rare, the progress of comprehending the laws of heaven and earth was also very long and torturous. Great Heavenly Venerate Ethereal and Great Heavenly Venerate Qing Xian had been Great Heavenly Venerates for more than 1 billion years, but they were still far from becoming a supreme heavenly venerate. Their progress in comprehending the laws of heaven and earth was so slow that it made one's hair stand on end. Just 1 piece of myriad origin flowing crystal was worth hundreds of millions of years of hard work and cultivation. How could the 2 of them resist this temptation after tasting the sweetness? However, as soon as they entered the realm battlefield, the 2 of them felt a strange atmosphere. It was an inexplicable feeling that made them feel as if there were fewer people in the realm battlefield. Could something have happened in these hundreds of thousands of years that we don't know about? Great Heavenly Venerate Ethereal and Great Heavenly Venerate Qing Xian had been cultivating in seclusion for hundreds of thousands of years and had come to the realm battlefield as soon as they came out. They didn't know that Yi Tianzong and the other 2 had massacred the realm battlefield and heavenly venerates of the various races. PFFF. Great Heavenly Venerate Ethereal and Great Heavenly Venerate Qing Xian both vomited blood and flew backwards. Then, they looked at the supreme heavenly venerates of the god race, and the dozen or so god race heavenly venerates around them with ugly expressions. They knew that they might not be able to escape today. The reason the 2 of them were like this was because Great Heavenly Venerate Ethereal had snatched the myriad origin flowing crystal from the god race's heavenly venerates. As a result, the god race's heavenly venerates had always held a grudge against him. Great Heavenly Venerate Ethereal and Great Heavenly Venerate Qing Xian, who had entered the realm battlefield again, were very unlucky. They had only wandered around the realm battlefield for 500 years before being discovered by the god race's heavenly venerate. Then, they were surrounded by them. If it was just the ancient heavenly venerates, the 2 of them were confident that they could escape even if there were more than 10 of them. However, the terrible thing was that the supreme heavenly venerates had also been lured over. Now everything pointed to disaster. When foreign races encountered each other on the battlefield and the difference in strength was too great, one of them was bound to die. The god race's heavenly venerates wouldn't allow great heavenly venerate ethereal and great heavenly venerate Qing Xian to escape. Fight. Great heavenly venerate ethereal and great heavenly venerate Qing Xian had a resolute look in their eyes as they executed a secret technique at the same time and lunged at the surrounding god race heavenly venerates with the intention of perishing together with them. The supreme heavenly venerate of the god race was obviously an experienced and ruthless character. He had no intention of showing off at all. After sensing ethereal and Qing Xian's intentions, he once again attacked the heavily injured ethereal and Qing Xian. Before ethereal and Qing Xian could even approach the celestial venerables of the divine race, they were once again slammed deep into the ground. Humph, a reckless ant! The supreme heavenly venerate of the god race had a look of disdain in his eyes. Then, he pointed with his finger and a power that could tear apart space and time was about to completely destroy ethereal and Qing Xian. However, a cold shout was heard. The supreme heavenly venerate of the god race didn't get his way. How dare you? Cram! The golden palm print that covered the sky pierced through space and time and headed straight for the supreme heavenly venerate of the god race. The supreme heavenly venerate of the god race could easily sense the power of this palm print and didn't dare let his guard down. He was on high alert as he unleashed several consecutive attacks to neutralize the attack of the golden palm print. He retreated a few hundred miles and said with an ugly expression, "Vast expanse, what is the meaning of this?" The supreme heavenly venerate of the god race had already recognized the newcomers. They were really Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue and Xinyu. They were the once famous rogue trio. However, after Yi Tianzong and the other two became supreme heavenly venerates and revealed their identities, no one dared to call them the rogue trio anymore. Humph. What is the meaning of this? You're a supreme heavenly venerate of the god race, yet you brought a dozen people to besiege two great heavenly venerates of the human race. What do you think I'm doing? Yi Tianzong said disdainfully to the supreme heavenly venerate of the god race. Then, he infused his supreme Tao energy into the heavily injured ethereal and Qing Xian to alleviate their injuries and allow them to temporarily regain their ability to move. Chapter 448. These two people snatched my divine race's myriad origin flowing crystal. Can't I kill them? Since when did you care about the human race? When the three of you were still rogues, the human race's heavenly venerables couldn't wait to kill you, the celestial race's supreme heavenly venerables said while suppressing his anger. Do you think I'll believe your bullsh*t? It's none of your business who I want to save. I just don't like you and want to beat you up, so what? Yi Tianzong's face fell and he said coldly. Then, he raised the divine sword in his hand and looked like he was about to fight. F***ck, why did he have to mention it? The celestial race's supreme heavenly venerables wanted to slap himself. He had spoken without thinking and touched the enemy's sore spot. Although the trio of rogues were famous in the past, they were like rats that everyone wanted to beat up. If there was a choice, no one would want to be like that. For Yi Tianzong and the other two who had become supreme heavenly venerables, they didn't want to recall the experience of being the enemy of the entire world. In the end, the words of the celestial race's supreme heavenly venerables reminded Yi Tianzong and the other two of their countless near-death experiences. It would be strange if they were happy. Seeing that Yi Tianzong and the other two were about to fight, the celestial race's supreme heavenly venerables panicked. He wasn't a match for them in a one-on-one fight, let alone the three of them. Especially when Yi Tianzong and the other two had the ability to kill him. This was dangerous. Don't go too far. I'm not afraid of you. I still have important things to do. I'll settle the score with you when I'm done. After saying that, The celestial race's supreme heavenly venerables ran away before Yi Tianzong could do anything. He ran away. That's right, he ran away after saying some harsh words. Not only were Yi Tianzong and the other two a little confused, but Ethereal and Qing Xian were also confused. The celestial race's supreme heavenly venerables were the most confused. F***ck, why did he run away? We still have important things to do. Who are you trying to fool? What are we going to do if you run away? The enemy is 3 supreme heavenly venerables. The other Empyreans of the god race finally reacted. The situation was very dangerous. They had to run quickly. However, they reacted a little too late. Yi Tianzong also would not let these foreign race Empyreans escape. The 3 of them each brandished their swords, and over 10 powerful god race heavenly venerables fell on the world battlefield. Ethereal and Qing Xian looked at the dreamlike scene in front of them and only regained their senses after a long time. They said respectfully to Yi Tianzong and the other 2, "Thank you, boundless expanse, for saving us." Yi Tianzong threw each of them a supreme fortune divine pill that could heal their injuries quickly. Then, he said, find a secret place to recuperate first. Otherwise, it will be very dangerous. We still have other things to do, so we will take our leave first. With that, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu quickly disappeared into the horizon. What exactly did we miss? How long has it been? The 3 of them, who were only late-stage heavenly venerables back then, have actually become supreme heavenly venerables? Even the tyrannical god race supreme heavenly venerables fled when they saw them. We must find out, Great Heavenly Venerate Ethereal said in disbelief. Let's find a place to recuperate first. After we recover, we will go and find out. There's no rush. After Great Heavenly Venerate Qing Xian said that, Great Heavenly Venerate Ethereal nodded in agreement. Then, the 2 of them left carefully. 10,000 years in the great thousand realms of the myriad races was 100,000 years in the world battlefield of the immortal mansion. 50,000 years had passed since Yi Tianzong had become a supreme heavenly venerate and given a sermon to the powerhouses of the human race, imparting the 3 corpses mystic technique. During these 50,000 years, the number of ancient seeking heavenly venerates of the human race had increased by another 30. The number of heavenly venerates had reached 123. The supreme heavenly venerates were still Yi Tianzong's group of 3 and supreme heavenly venerate. After 50,000 years of cultivation, great heavenly venerate Xingyang had once again severed his evil corpse and his strength had increased again. Compared to before he had obtained the 3 corpses mystic technique, great heavenly venerate Xingyang's strength had increased by nearly 3 times. His speed of comprehending nomological laws had also increased several times after 2 stack. In addition to great heavenly venerate Xingyang, the other heavenly venerates of the human race, who had obtained the 3 corpses mystic technique, had also severed one of their evil corpses during these years. Their strength had increased exponentially and their cultivation base had also improved further. Their initial stage heavenly venerates had advanced to mid-stage heavenly venerates, mid-stage heavenly venerates had advanced to late-stage heavenly venerates, and late-stage heavenly venerates had advanced to great heavenly venerate. The strength of the upper echelons of the human race alone had increased by more than 3 times in the past 50,000 years. This was simply unimaginable in the past. The increase in strength was accompanied by an even stronger desire to expand. These Empyrean powerhouses needed even more supreme-level treasures and rare heavenly treasures to increase their strength. The human race had basically been plundered clean, so if they wanted to continue increasing their strength quickly, they would have to expand outwards, conquering even more races and gaining even more territory. Therefore, the human race, which had rested for 250,000 years, began to mobilize again. Orders were passed down and hundreds of millions of troops set off for the human race's borders. countless war fortresses and sky patrol battleships were transported to the human race's borders through the void teleportation array. The colossus that had been dormant for 250,000 years began to expand again. Once it was mobilized, it displayed its tyrannical foundation and strength. More than 6 million great emperors arrived at the human race's borders. This time, the human race intended to launch a punitive expedition against the Earth God race. At the same time, the Flower Spirit race, Rain God race, Serene Cloud race, and Green Sky Python race were also part of the plan. The Flower Spirit race and Rain God race were both mid-level races with at most 3 heavenly venerates in each race. The Serene Cloud race and Green Sky Python race were powerful races that ranked in the top 1,500th place. Each race had 7 heavenly venerates and a great heavenly venerate expert overseeing them. Among the 123 heavenly venerates of the human race, there were 6 great heavenly venerates, 27 late-stage heavenly venerates, 60 mid-stage heavenly venerates, and 30 early-stage heavenly venerate. The Earth God race, which was the target of the human race's punitive expedition, had 1 supreme heavenly venerate and 43 ancient seeking heavenly venerates. Among them, there were 6 great heavenly venerates. With the human race's current strength, attacking the Earth God race, Flower Spirit race, Rain God race, Serene Cloud race, and Green Sky Python race at the same time wasn't a problem. The only concern was that they had to conquer the Earth God race in a short period of time. Otherwise, the Metaspirit race and Demon race wouldn't allow the human race to grow stronger. The Demon race had 2 powerful enemies in the Heavenly Saint race and Star Spirit race. If the human race continued to grow stronger, it would threaten the safety of the Demon race's rear. The Demon race wouldn't allow the human race to grow strong enough to threaten them. The Metaspirit race was the neighbor of the Earth God race, so they were only slightly more powerful than the Earth God race. Once the human race annexed the Earth God race, the Metaspirit race would be the first to bear the brunt of the attack. Thus, the Metaspirit race wouldn't allow the human race to annex the Earth God race. Thus, due to various reasons, if the human race wanted to achieve their goal of expansion, they had to kill the Earth God race's heavenly venerates in a short period of time. They had to destroy the Earth God race's resistance, so that the Metaspirit race and Demon race wouldn't be able to intervene. In order to achieve all of this, only Yi Tianzong and the others could achieve this. Time passed, and 100 years passed. Everything was ready except for one thing. They were just waiting for Yi Tianzong and the others to come out of seclusion. The human race's intentions were already clear, so the Earth God race naturally wouldn't just sit around and wait for death. They also gathered countless armies and deployed them on the border with the human race. In addition, they also joined forces with other mid-tier races to resist the human race. After 50,000 years in the outside world, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu had spent 500,000 years in the Immortal Mansion's world battlefield. During these 500,000 years, Yi Tianzong and the others discovered more than 100 Khanate origin crystal veins and more than 60 supreme-grade resource veins. They also discovered 3 types of precious resource veins, which were top-grade materials that could only be smelted by supreme heavenly venerates. In addition, the 3 of them also obtained 16 myriad origin flowing crystals. They were very lucky. It should be known that other heavenly venerates couldn't obtain a single myriad origin flowing crystal in hundreds of thousands of years. With the help of the 16 myriad origin flowing crystals, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu's cultivation base broke through and entered the 5th step of the supreme heavenly venerate realm. Their strength had more than doubled. Just as the 3 of them wanted to continue, the clone left in the great thousand world of the myriad races informed Yi Tianzong of the situation in the outside world. After Yi Tianzong understood the situation, he didn't delay. After all, he could return at any time. He walked out of the Immortal Mansion with Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu and returned to the Heaven's Expanse Heavenly Palace. The news of the three of them coming out of seclusion also spread to the upper echelons of the human clan in a very short time. Looking at the many human clan heavenly venerates who had rushed over, Yi Tianzong said, "I already know about the matter. There's no time to lose. Immediately start the war with the Earth God clan. I'll go and deal with the supreme heavenly venerate of the Earth God clan." After saying that, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu disappeared. The rest of the human clan heavenly venerates also immediately returned to their respective areas and gave the order to attack. Above the vast nine heavens, the supreme heavenly venerate of the Earth God clan looked at the supreme heavenly venerate of the Void and asked angrily, "Is the human clan really going to be stubborn and fight to the death with the Earth God clan? You have to understand that the supreme heavenly venerates are immortal. You can't stop me." When the supreme heavenly venerate of the Void heard the words of the supreme heavenly venerate of the Earth God clan, he remained calm and replied calmly, "The law of the jungle has always been the law of competition in our world. If it were the Earth God clan today, you wouldn't let the human clan off either. Alright, in that case, let's have a showdown. Let me see how a junior like you, who has only cultivated for a few billion years, can stop me." The supreme heavenly venerate of the Earth God clan launched an attack at the supreme heavenly venerate of the Void. After saying that, the supreme heavenly venerate of the Void didn't back down and started fighting with the supreme heavenly venerate of the Earth God clan. When their supreme powers collided, the vast nine heavens shook and shook. Time and space collapsed and the universe was destroyed. It was like the end of the world. Chapter 449. P.S. Sorry, I was a little sleepy after writing, so I wanted to take a nap. I overslept and posted it a little late. The Earth Gods had existed for far longer than the human race. The Earth God's supreme heavenly venerate had existed for more than 1 billion years before the Void's supreme heavenly venerate. He had already reached the 4th step of the supreme heavenly venerate realm. The Void Supreme Heavenly Venerate's cultivation realm was also advancing rapidly due to the increasing fortune of the human race. He had also completed the 3 corpses mystic technique that Yi Tianzong had passed on to him. After combining the 3 corpses, the Void Supreme Heavenly Venerate had already reached the peak of the 3rd step of the Supreme Heavenly Venerate realm. As long as the human race continued to grow stronger, it wouldn't take more than 1 million years for him to reach the 4th step of the Supreme Heavenly Venerate realm. Therefore, the gap between the Void Supreme Heavenly Venerate and the Earth God's Supreme Heavenly Venerate wasn't huge. During the battle, the Supreme Exalted Celestial of the Earth God race also discovered this unacceptable reality. Just as the two of them were engaged in an intense battle, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu tore through the void and descended onto the battlefield. What? There are 3 more Supreme Heavenly Venerates? The Earth God's Supreme Heavenly Venerate looked at Yi Tianzong and the other 2 in shock. As far as he knew, the human race should only have 2 Supreme Heavenly Venerates. How could there be 4? This was actually the result of the human race's Supreme Heavenly Venerates deliberately concealing the truth. Back then, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu had all become Supreme Heavenly Venerates at the same time. Everyone in the human race's territory only knew that there were new Supreme Heavenly Venerates, but they didn't know that there were 3 Supreme Heavenly Venerates. The upper echelons of the human race had also sealed off the news. They had even placed a soul seal on the great emperors who knew about it. Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu rarely showed themselves. Therefore, the outside world didn't know that there were 4 Supreme Heavenly Venerates in the human race. They only knew that there were 2 Supreme Heavenly Venerates in the human race. Damn it, the human race has hidden it so well. The Supreme Heavenly Venerate of the Earth God race felt his heart sink. 4 Supreme Heavenly Venerates were enough to seal him. It seemed like he wouldn't be able to escape today. Just as the Earth God Supreme Celestial was thinking about how to escape, Yi Tianzong sent a voice transmission to the Void Supreme Celestial and asked him to distract the enemy. Then, he combined his yin-yang with Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu again and turned into a tricolored light beam. Time and space came to a standstill, fate retreated, and the universe froze. A tricolored beam of light, imbued with supreme and unbridled power, pierced through the Earthen God Supreme's head and continued on through his body. The Earth God Supreme Heavenly Venerate only had time to wonder why he couldn't move before his consciousness dissipated. After his death, Yi Tianzong once again used the law of karma to trace the karma line to the unknown depths of the river of time. He found the Earth God Supreme Heavenly Venerate's true spirit and completely obliterated his true spirit. After the Earth God Supreme Heavenly Venerate was destroyed, Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu disappeared and returned to the immortal mansion. Then Yi Tianzong and the Void Supreme Celestial quickly descended to the Heavenly Venerate battlefield below. When the Earth God Supreme Heavenly Venerate died, the powerhouses and countless beings of the Earth God race felt an indescribable sadness. They knew that the Supreme Heavenly Venerate of their race had fallen. After losing their greatest reliance and hope, the beings of the Earth God race immediately fell into two extremes. One was that their morale plummeted and they became disheartened. They were very passive and powerless in the face of the human race's army. The other was that they burned their boats and wanted to perish together with the human race. When Yi Tianzong and the Void Supreme Celestial descended to the Heavenly Venerate battlefield, none of the Earth God race's Heavenly Venerate powerhouses wanted to surrender. This was because they knew that the human race's powerhouses wouldn't let them live. Therefore, they fought desperately with the human race's Heavenly Venerates with the intention of perishing together with the human race's Heavenly Venerate powerhouses. Yi Tianzong and the Void Supreme Celestial immediately joined the battlefield. Their strength far exceeded the ancient Heavenly Venerate realm, allowing Yi Tianzong and the Void Supreme Celestial to move unhindered in the Heavenly Venerate battlefield. They were invincible. A Heavenly Venerate powerhouse's strength that could shake heaven and earth was so insignificant in front of them. A simple punch, a finger, or a palm from the two of them could pierce through space-time and divine abilities, severely injuring the ancient Heavenly Venerate and causing him to lose the ability to continue fighting. Then, the human race's Heavenly Venerate powerhouses seized the opportunity to eliminate the Earth God race's Heavenly Venerates in one fell swoop. In just half an hour, with Yi Tianzong and the Void Supreme Celestial joining the battle, all the Earth God race's Heavenly Venerate powerhouses were killed by the human race. After killing the Earth God race's Heavenly Venerate powerhouses, Yi Tianzong nodded at the Void Supreme Celestial. Then, Yi Tianzong tore open the void and disappeared between heaven and earth, rushing to the other battlefields. This time, he had to get rid of the remaining Heavenly Venerate powerhouses of the Flower Spirits, Rain Gods, Serene Cloud Race, and Blue Sky Python Race as quickly as possible. The Void Supreme Celestial needed to oversee the Earth God race's battlefield and deal with the Meta-Spirit race's movement. As for Yi Tianzong, he was slightly stronger. After dealing with the Heavenly Venerate powerhouses of the Flower Spirits, Rain Gods, Serene Cloud Race, and Blue Sky Python Race, he still needed to rush to the border with the Demon Race's territory to oversee it and deter the Demon Race. No, how can this be? As the last great Heavenly Venerate of the Blue Sky Python Race was slapped to death by Yi Tianzong, all the Heavenly Venerate powerhouses of the Earth God Race, Flower Spirits, Rain Gods, Serene Cloud Race, and Blue Sky Python Race were wiped out. They were no longer able to stop the human race's conquest. The human race's army also tore open the line of defense and marched straight in, quickly occupying the foreign race's territory. After Yi Tianzong arrived at the border between the human race and the demon race, the human race and the demon race were currently in a tense standoff. More than 20 Heavenly Venerate powerhouses of the demon race were in a stalemate with the 10 Heavenly Venerates left behind by the human race. They were ready to make a move. The demon race's army had also finished gathering and was about to launch an attack. After Yi Tianzong arrived, He immediately erupted with the might of a supreme heavenly venerate and instantly swept across the hundreds of billions of miles of border between the human race and the demon race. The demon race's army immediately swayed and fell to the ground without any ability to resist. The more than 20 heavenly venerates of the demon race were also suppressed by Yi Tianzong's aura and could only barely resist. Yi Tianzong's eyes were cold as he looked at the heavenly venerates of the demon race and asked, "What? Your demon race is barely dealing with the heavenly saint race and the star spirit race. Do you still want to start a war with my human race?" A great heavenly venerate of the demon race said arrogantly, "Humph, our demon race dominates the world. Your human race can be annihilated with a flip of our palm. Do you think 2 mere supreme heavenly venerates can provoke our demon race? So what if this venerate attacks your human race?" Yi Tianzong immediately sent the great heavenly venerate of the demon race flying with a slap. The great heavenly venerate vomited blood and was sent flying for tens of thousands of miles. Yi Tianzong then said, "You are only a great heavenly venerate. This venerate is a supreme heavenly venerate. You don't have the right to be presumptuous. The demon race is indeed powerful, and my human race is no match for you. However, don't forget that your demon race is at war with the heavenly saint race and the star spirit race. You can exterminate my human race if you want, but this venerate won't sit and wait for death. My human race has 2 supreme heavenly venerate. If 2 of my human race's supreme heavenly venerates sneak into your demon race's territory and cause trouble, what do you think the consequences will be? When the time comes, you will be the one who started the war. Do you think the demon race's supreme heavenly venerates will let your family and descendants off? Or do you think this venerate won't kill you immediately?" Upon hearing Yi Tianzong's words, the great heavenly venerate of the demon race, who was about to explode, immediately calmed down. Although he didn't want to admit it, the human race's supreme heavenly venerate had said what he was most worried about. Once he attacked the human race definitely wouldn't sit and wait for death. The human race's supreme heavenly venerates would also exterminate him immediately. When the human race and the demon race fought, the human race would suffer great losses. If the 2 human races' supreme heavenly venerates went all out and wreaked havoc in the demon race, the losses and casualties would be immeasurable. Especially now that they were at war with the 2 overlords, the heavenly saint race and the star spirit race. If the 2 supreme heavenly venerates wreaked havoc in the rear, the demon race might suffer a great defeat. No matter what the outcome was, his descendants and family would definitely be sacrificed to appease the anger of all parties. This was something he didn't want to see. After thinking it through, the great heavenly venerate of the demon race knew that he had suffered a palm strike for nothing. He also couldn't make a supreme heavenly venerate apologize. Therefore, he gloomily stared at the human race's supreme heavenly venerate and said, "All right, this venerate admits defeat today. However, human race's supreme heavenly venerate, remember this. Once my demon race ends its war with the heavenly saint race and the star spirit race, it will be the death of your human race." Yi Tianzong said nonchalantly, "Humph, then this venerate will wait and see. Now, scram. Otherwise, don't blame this venerate for being impolite. You humph, let's go." The great heavenly venerate of the demon race glared at Yi Tianzong fiercely before leaving with the other demon race's supreme heavenly venerates. "Humph, do you think it's possible to end the war with the heavenly saint race and the star spirit race? The demon race, the heavenly saint race, and the star spirit race aren't the only races in the myriad races' great thousand world. Will the powerhouses of the other races watch as you guys end the war? It seems like it's time for the demon race to experience the fear of being dominated by thieves again. The current human race is still too weak. Otherwise, a mere great heavenly venerate of the demon race could crush him like an ant. There's still a long way to go for the human race to become an overlord race like the demon race." Yi Tianzong sighed in his heart before returning to the border with the human race's supreme heavenly venerates. A war between the human race and the demon race that had almost happened was thus averted. However, it was foreseeable that there would never be fewer wars between the human race and the demon race in the future. On the other side, under the deterrence of the supreme heavenly venerate of the void, and because the war had ended too quickly, the earth god race's heavenly venerates were quickly annihilated. The powerhouses and army of the metaspirit race finally seized a small part of the earth god race's territory before settling down and no longer attempting to disturb the human race. The human race's heavenly venerates turned a blind eye to the metaspirit race's effortless occupation of about 1/10 of the earth god race's territory in order to avoid any unforeseen circumstances. After all, there were still territories of the other 4 races that had been occupied. There was no need to fight to the death with the metaspirit race over those territories. This was not in line with the previously established decision. 500 years had passed. The human race had completely occupied and controlled the territories that originally belonged to the earth god race, the flower spirit race, the rain god race, the serene cloud race, and the blue sky python race. Countless resources and fortunes had gathered in the human race. All the powerhouses above the god-king realm of the 5 races, except for those that had to be left behind, had been exterminated. After the blood demon race, the metal-breaking race, and the other races, the human race had 5 more slave races. Chapter 450. After conquering a large territory, the next thing the human race had to do was to digest their gains and convert the vast territory, resources, and providence into powerful strength. Therefore, after demarcating the territories ruled by the heavenly venerables, the human race began a 200,000-year-long hibernation. Most of the human race, heavenly venerables, entered seclusion to increase their strength. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu also announced that they would enter seclusion. However, 10,000 years later, Yi Tianzong once again controlled the immortal mansion to enter the demon race's territory and launched another sneak attack. The demon race's heavenly venerables left behind to guard the territory were attacked by Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu. A large number of God-King level, Emperor level, and Supreme level forces were plundered and their outstanding prodigies were slaughtered. This time, Yi Tianzong, Shen Yu, and Shen Yu had all become supreme heavenly venerables and were many times stronger. Naturally, they were not afraid of being hunted down by the demon race's supreme heavenly venerables. Therefore, they disguised themselves as demon race's supreme heavenly venerables and wreaked havoc everywhere. This time, they were not satisfied with just causing trouble like the last time. They planned to deal a heavy blow to the demon race's foundation. The 3 of them transformed into thousands of people and blended into the demon race to investigate the various factions' prodigies and grotto heavens. After investigating thoroughly, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu ruthlessly destroyed God-King level, Emperor level, and Supreme level forces one by one under Yi Tianzong, causing panic among the major forces in the demon race's territory. Most of the demon race's forces and experts were now in a deadlock with the Heavenly Saint tribe and the Star Spirit tribe. They were unable to deal with the thief effectively and quickly. Moreover, the thief had displayed his strength as a supreme heavenly venerate without any scruples. Who else could stop him other than a supreme heavenly venerate? On this day, Yi Tianzong had just finished attacking a supreme-level force and was about to move on to the next one when he suddenly stopped. 4 supreme heavenly venerables of the demon race had appeared around Yi Tianzong. After seeing Yi Tianzong, the 4 supreme heavenly venerables of the demon race did not immediately attack Yi Tianzong, which made Yi Tianzong feel a little puzzled. One demon race, the supreme heavenly venerables of the demon race, had a hand in the past. Demon race's supreme heavenly venerables must have participated in your clan's annihilation. You should have vented your resentment by now. If you continue to cause trouble, don't blame us to the patriarch to kill you. Yi Tianzong was shocked when he heard the words of the supreme heavenly venerables of the demon race. However, he did not show it on his face. Instead, he snorted coldly and showed that he did not want to say anything. Seeing that Yi Tianzong, who was disguised as a supreme exalted of the divine demon race, had no intention of attacking, the supreme exalted of the demon race said, "How about this? Since you have already become a supreme exalted, you can obtain a territory within the demon race and establish your own force. However, you cannot continue to destroy the stability of the demon race. We are now at war with the Heavenly Saint tribe and the Star Spirit tribe. You cannot drag us down. This is also the Patriarch's intention. You know the consequences of going against the Patriarch's wishes. You don't have to worry about me. I don't need you to tell me what to do. You don't have to use the Patriarch of the demon race to pressure me. I will settle my grudge with you sooner or later." After saying that, Yi Tianzong tore open the void and left. Then, he entered the immortal mansion and disappeared without a trace. After Yi Tianzong disappeared, a faint black figure appeared. Looking at the place where Yi Tianzong had disappeared, an ancient and desolate voice resounded. "I didn't expect that the divine demon race would appear again after countless epochs. This talent that is compatible with space and time is really unique in this world." After entering the vast expanse immortal abode, Yi Tianzong's uneasy feeling finally disappeared. He heaved a long sigh of relief. Ling Xinyu and Xin Yu walked over and asked, "What's wrong? You look very nervous." Yi Tianzong told the two of them what had happened before, and also told them about the uneasy feeling he had just now. Demon race? Since when did the divine demon race exist? And what's going on with the patriarch of the demon race? I always felt that someone was watching me, but I couldn't discover it. Could it be that the so-called patriarch of the demon race was watching me just now? Yi Tianzong felt that things were out of his control. He had disguised himself as a member of the Devil Clan, but he had merely imitated the appearance of the supreme celestial venerables of the Devil Clan in the world battlefield in the heavens expanse immortal abode. He had never thought that he would be recognized as a member of the Fiend God Clan in the greater thousand worlds of the myriad races. Also, the demon race had a so-called old ancestor. Was it really an old ancestor of the demon race who could keep an eye on him without him noticing? How strong was that old ancestor of the demon race? Given that he was in the fifth step of the supreme celestial venerate realm, even a super expert in the ninth step of the supreme celestial venerate realm wouldn't be able to escape his notice. Since the demon race had a patriarch, did the Heavenly Saint tribe and the Star Spirit tribe also have a so-called patriarch? The demon race, the Heavenly Saint tribe, and the Star Spirit tribe were all races that had existed since the beginning of the world. What realm were their patriarchs in now? It had been more than hundreds of billions of years since the birth of the great thousand domains. Countless races had risen and fallen. At the same time, countless races had perished in the long river of time. The demon race, the Heavenly Saint tribe, and the Star Spirit tribe had always been at the top of the great thousand domains. It seemed that they were not as simple as they seemed on the surface. After hearing Yi Tianzong's words, Xin Yu said, "It seems that we can't continue to cause trouble in the demon race for the time being. With your current strength, even a ninth-step supreme heavenly venerate would not be able to monitor you without you noticing. Only a perfected supreme heavenly venerate would be able to do so. The current situation is that we have too little information. For safety's sake, we have to make a long-term plan." Ling Xinyue did not speak, but from her expression, it could be seen that as long as Yi Tianzong made a decision, she would support it. Yi Tianzong thought carefully, then said, "Since we can't cause trouble, then we'll work hard to cultivate. As long as we have enough strength, we'll eventually know all the secrets and secrets. We have supreme opportunities and time, so what's there to be afraid of?" I'll listen to you." This unforeseen event also rang the alarm bell for Yi Tianzong. He had underestimated the enemy too much. There was always someone better than him, so he should never be too confident. Although he had supreme opportunities, he still continued to climb the path of cultivation. He had to always have a devout and respectful heart. In the following time, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu returned to the heavens expanse heavenly palace of the human race and entered the world battlefield of the immortal mansion. They did their best to search for universal flowing crystals and improve their strength. Since there were suspected perfected supreme heavenly venerates in the great thousand world of the myriad races, it was very likely that there were perfected supreme heavenly venerates in the 10 great thousand worlds of the trial space. They were all super great thousand worlds that surpassed the pinnacle level of the great thousand world. It did not make sense that the myriad races' great thousand world had such a deep foundation, but the 10 super worlds that were not inferior to the myriad races' great thousand world did not have the corresponding supreme powerhouses. Therefore, after returning to the world battlefield, Yi Tianzong and the other two kept a low profile. Other than searching for universal flowing crystals, they rarely took the initiative to clash with the foreign races. Time passed year after year. In the myriad races' great thousand world, the demon race was still at war with the heavenly saint tribe and the star astral tribe. Previously, because of the disturbance caused by Yi Tianzong and the other two, the demon race had been plagued by internal and external troubles. The heavenly saint tribe and the star astral tribe had seized the opportunity to seize a large territory and killed countless demon race beings. Naturally, the powerhouses of the demon race were unwilling to accept this. Now that the internal troubles had been resolved, the next step was to make the heavenly saint tribe and the star astral tribe pay the price. The war between the 3 overlords of the myriad races' great thousand world had given the other races a rare opportunity to develop. Taking advantage of the war between the 3 races, the 4th-ranked Sky Mighty Celestial tribe, the 5th-ranked 9 Heaven Phoenix tribe, the 6th-ranked Ancient Royal Family, the 7th-ranked Metaspirit tribe, and the current human race were all expanding and accumulating strength. Powerful races were expanding, fighting for more living space, more resources, and more fate. Following that, countless weaker races were wiped out, enslaved, and their territories occupied. The law of the jungle was vividly displayed here. In the blink of an eye, 200,000 years had passed. After occupying a large territory, the strength of the human race had entered an explosive period. Great emperor powerhouses emerged one after another, and godly monarch powerhouses were as numerous as the stars in the sky. Even the number of heavenly venerates had increased by 73. The total number of heavenly venerates in the human race had reached 196. In addition to Yi Tianzong and the other two, as well as the supreme heavenly venerate void, there were 200 heavenly venerates. Under the influence of the 3-corpse mystic technique, the number of great heavenly venerates in the human race had reached 10 and 60 late-stage heavenly venerate. Great heavenly venerate Xingyang had already severed the 3rd corpse, the self-obsession corpse. His speed of comprehending the laws of heaven and earth had increased by more than 10 times. In addition to his foundation of over 100 million years, he was making great strides toward becoming a supreme heavenly venerate. Once the 3 corpses merged into one, there was a great possibility that he would be promoted to a supreme heavenly venerate. As for Yi Haoran, Su Mingxin, Yi Haoyun, and Yi Yuanshan, with the support of various supreme treasures provided by Yi Tianzong, they had also severed the good and evil corpses one after another. Their nomological comprehension had increased to the mid-stage heavenly venerate, and their strength had increased to the late-stage heavenly venerate. After the various human race heavenly venerates came out of their seclusion, they couldn't wait to continue waging war against the outside world, so that they could obtain more resources and providence to help increase their strength. However, a decree from the boundless Supreme Heavenly Palace and the Void Supreme Heavenly Palace forced them to stop what they were doing. Yi Tianzong had also returned a few times in the past 200,000 years and told the Supreme Heavenly Venerate Void about what he had encountered in the demon race. After a discussion between the two, they decided to postpone the decision to attack the Metaspirit race and attack the surrounding small races first. They would slowly expand the territory of the human race and not excessively provoke the demon race. Once the human race expanded too rapidly, it was very likely that it would alert the demon race. Once the demon race really stopped fighting with the heavenly saint race and the star spirit race, they would exterminate the human race immediately. Therefore, the Supreme Heavenly Venerate Noda had vetoed the plan to continue expanding wantonly. Instead, they would slowly encroach on the surrounding small and weak races and slowly accumulate strength. After hearing the explanations of the Supreme Heavenly Venerate Void and Yi Tianzong, the various human race Heavenly Venerates suppressed the eagerness in their hearts and continued to comprehend the laws of heaven and earth at an outrageous speed like before. Chapter 451. As time passed, the human race entered a period of relative stability and no longer launched large-scale expeditions. The neighboring Metaspirit clan and ancient royal family also heaved a sigh of relief. The human race had suddenly risen in power in the past million years. They had wiped out the blood demon race, the mysterious underworld race, the earth god race, and many other powerful races. The number of heavenly venerates had also skyrocketed, surpassing 150. This made the Metaspirit race and the ancient theocrats feel threatened. This was because the number of celestial venerables in the human race had greatly exceeded theirs. Coupled with the two supreme celestial venerables, none of the races would be a match for the human race. Hundreds of thousands of years had passed, yet the human race had not shown any signs of attacking them. This meant that the human race had no intention of becoming enemies with them for a considerable period of time. Thus, everyone in the Metaspirit clan and ancient royal family heaved a sigh of relief. As for the weak races with only one or two celestial venerables, what did their fates have to do with them? The human race's affairs were handled by their clones. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu had stayed in the world battlefield in the Immortal Mansion for 3 million years. During this time, the three of them had cultivated and wandered around the celestial venerate area of the world battlefield. The three of them had almost explored the entire vast celestial venerate area of the world battlefield. In addition to the well-hidden resource veins, most of the primordial origin crystal veins and resource veins 25 kilometers underground in the celestial venerate area had been discovered by Yi Tianzong, Xin Yu, and Xin Yu. Among them, there were 5 super primordial origin crystal veins, 100 large primordial origin crystal veins, more than 1,200 medium primordial origin crystal veins, and more than 10,000 small primordial origin crystal veins. They had also discovered more than 1,000 supreme-grade material veins and 7 supreme material veins. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu had created a large number of energy clones and hidden underground to mine these primordial origin crystal and material veins day and night. In addition, Yi Tianzong and the other two had met most of the supreme heavenly venerates of the 10 great races in the past 3 million years. There were more than 2,000 of them. When both sides met, Yi Tianzong and the other two wouldn't take the initiative to attack unless the foreign race's supreme heavenly venerate's attitude was really bad. Instead, they would brush past each other warily. The three of them were quite lucky. In 3 million years, they had found a total of more than 100 myriad origin flowing crystals. Half of them had been snatched from other supreme heavenly venerates, while the other half had been discovered by themselves. After digesting more than 110,000 source-flowing crystals, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu's cultivation base rose to the 7th step of the Supreme Heavenly Venerate. Their true strength was definitely stronger than a 9th step Supreme Heavenly Venerate. As for a peak Supreme Heavenly Venerate, because they had never encountered one before, there was no way to compare. However, Yi Tianzong and the other two had only encountered a ninth-step Supreme Heavenly Venerate before. It was a Supreme Heavenly Venerate from the ancient race. The reason they had encountered him was because the three of them had found another myriad origin flowing crystal. Just as Yi Tianzong was about to put away the myriad origin flowing crystal, the Supreme Heavenly Venerate of the ancient race had also seen it. A ninth-step Supreme Heavenly Venerate was in existence second only to a peak Supreme Heavenly Venerate. They were super powerhouses among the Supreme Heavenly Venerate. A ninth-step Supreme Heavenly Venerate might not be able to kill a first to third-step Supreme Heavenly Venerate in a short period of time, but he could still beat up a seal. In terms of strength, a ninth-step Supreme Heavenly Venerate powerhouse was about 12 times stronger than a first-step Supreme Heavenly Venerate powerhouse. The ninth-step Supreme Heavenly Venerate of the ancient race relied on his powerful cultivation base to order Yi Tianzong and the other two around. He didn't hold back and looked at the three of them with undisguised murderous intent. How could Yi Tianzong and the other two, who were equally proud and arrogant, tolerate their enemies' bad habits? Hence, both sides started fighting without a word. Back then, Yi Tianzong and the other two were still sixth-step Supreme Heavenly Venerate. Each of them could contend against a ninth-step Supreme Heavenly Venerate of the ancient race. When the three of them attacked together, they immediately beat up the Supreme Heavenly Venerate of the ancient race. The ninth-step Supreme Heavenly Venerate of the ancient race was also stubborn. He flew into a rage out of humiliation. Even though he couldn't beat Yi Tianzong and the other two, he didn't admit defeat or escape. Instead, he chose to fight to the death with the three of them. The battle between Supreme Heavenly Venerates caused a huge commotion. The commotion of the battle spread more than 100,000 miles away and gradually attracted other Supreme Heavenly Venerates. After seeing the two sides of the battle, most of them chose to watch from the sidelines. Apart from the Supreme Heavenly Venerates of the ancient race, who came to help their fellow clan members, no other Supreme Heavenly Venerates came to help Yi Tianzong and the other two. The Supreme Heavenly Venerates of the human race also left without looking back. Seeing this, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu made a prompt decision. The three of them worked together and executed a forbidden divine ability. They killed a ninth-step and three fifth-step Supreme Heavenly Venerates of the ancient race in front of the horrified eyes of the other Supreme Heavenly Venerate. Then, they instantly left the battlefield. The boundless infinitum, yin-yang combination, was a forbidden mystique created by Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu when they were in the Great Emperor realm. There were many lucky coincidences in the process of creating this forbidden mystique. As the three of them grew stronger, they never gave up on perfecting this forbidden mystique. Therefore, the power of this forbidden mystique grew stronger and stronger. After killing a ninth-step Supreme Heavenly Venerate, Yi Tianzong and the other two's ferocious power spread throughout the entire Heavenly Venerate battlefield. All the Supreme Heavenly Venerates of the various clans wouldn't fight with Yi Tianzong and the other two unless they had no other choice. While Yi Tianzong and the other two continued to improve their strength in the Immortal Mansion, in the great thousand world of the myriad races, there was a strange change in the Forbidden Spirit Extremis that was originally guarded by the Silver Moon race. In the depths of the Forbidden Spirit Extremis, in the chaotic region where spacetime was broken and destiny no longer existed, thousands of strange-looking creatures wrapped in a dark gray current appeared inexplicably in this vast secret realm. These strangely shaped creatures were incomparably huge. Even the smallest of them was several tens of meters in size. They emitted an aura of destruction, slaughter, and destruction from the inside out. It was as if they were born to destroy and slaughter everything in their path. The most shocking thing was that each of these chaotic creatures exuded an aura not weaker than that of a great emperor expert. There were even hundreds of celestial venerates among them. The largest chaotic creature was thousands of feet in size and exuded an aura not inferior to that of a Supreme Heavenly Venerate. The eyes of these creatures were filled with a dark red glow. Except for the largest chaotic creature, the rest of them had no sense of reason, only the desire to kill. Following an earth-shattering roar that shook the spacetime, the 100 chaotic creatures equivalent to celestial venerates and over 3,000 great emperors roared and rushed toward the exit of this vast secret realm. After all the chaotic creatures left, the largest and most powerful chaotic creature also rushed out of the vast secret realm. No one knew when the forbidden spirit extremis had appeared in the great thousand worlds of the myriad races. It had existed for a very, very long time, and no one knew why it had appeared. They only knew that anyone who entered the forbidden spirit extremis would perish inside, including heavenly venerates and supreme heavenly venerates. Moreover, chaotic ferocious spirits would rush out from the forbidden spirit extremis from time to time. The weakest of these chaotic ferocious spirits were equivalent to great emperors, while the stronger ones could contend with great heavenly venerates. The chaotic ferocious spirits slaughtered and destroyed everything. The living beings they saw were no longer living beings. Everywhere they passed, only death would be left. There were now 4 races close to the forbidden spirit extremis. They were the metaspirit race, the giant dragon race, the knightly race, and the human race. These 4 races were all powerful races with supreme heavenly venerates overseeing them. The giant dragon race and the knightly race had originally been ranked behind the blood demon race. After the human race had eliminated the blood demon race, the mysterious underworld race, and the earth god race, the giant dragon race and the knightly race had become the 9th and 10th most powerful races. The forbidden spirit extremis had originally been deathly silent. However, on this day, the earth-shattering roars of beasts broke the silence. Thousands of frenzied and murderous roars resounded in the vast forbidden spirit extremis. The entire forbidden spirit extremis was billions of miles wide. The chaotic creatures that had rushed out of the primal chaos secret realm didn't stop for a moment. They immediately split into 4 directions and rushed out of the forbidden spirit extremis. Following the appearance of these chaotic creatures, the grayish-black airflow that had been floating in the forbidden spirit extremis seemed to have been activated. It suddenly surged violently, and every airflow contained a destructive power that could destroy all life. Countless grayish-black airflows formed monstrous waves that crashed against the heavenly Tao barrier outside the forbidden spirit extremis with destructive power. Wave after wave of enormous black waves crashed against the heavenly Tao barrier, vowing to completely destroy the barrier of the heavenly Tao. Even a supreme heavenly venerate would have no choice but to flee in the face of the gigantic wave that could destroy everything. When the black waves crashed against the heavenly Tao barrier, thousands of chaotic ferocious spirits that were equivalent to great emperors and heavenly venerates also rushed to the heavenly Tao barrier. When the chaotic ferocious spirits wrapped in the grayish-black airflow passed through the heavenly Tao barrier, it was as if cold water had been poured on a piece of red-hot iron. They screamed in pain as they passed through the heavenly Tao barrier with great difficulty. The grayish-black airflow that enveloped the chaotic ferocious spirits had almost completely disappeared. The human race, metaspirit race, giant dragon race, and knightly race had all sent an army to guard the forbidden spirit extremis. There were also heavenly venerate experts present. Therefore, when the forbidden spirit extremis began to change, the armies stationed outside the forbidden spirit extremis were the first to discover the situation. Then, they sent word to their respective rear as quickly as possible. This time, more than 3,000 great emperors, 100 heavenly venerates, and 1 supreme heavenly venerate had attacked. They were divided into 4 groups. The armies of metaspirit race, giant dragon race, and knightly race that were stationed outside the forbidden spirit extremis suffered a great loss because of their underestimation. Billions of soldiers were almost wiped out in a short time. Even the heavenly venerate experts guarding the forbidden spirit extremis were besieged by so many heavenly venerate level chaotic ferocious spirit. The situation was precarious. On the other hand, The human race's army and heavenly venerate experts had a short time to react because Yi Tianzong had set up a Howran sky barrier out of caution. Sensing the aura of more than 700 great emperors, more than 20 heavenly venerates, and supreme heavenly venerates that were far stronger than heavenly venerates, the human race's heavenly venerate stationed here turned pale with fright. He hurriedly crushed the emergency rescue talisman in his hand and ordered the human race's army to retreat. Chapter 452. Yi Tianzong's clone, who was far away in the central territory of the human race, was handling some important matters in the heavenly court. Yi Tianzong's clone sensed it in less than a second when the chaos ferocious spirits in the spirit forbidden extremis attacked the Howran sky barrier. Oh? There's a change in the spirit forbidden extremis. Yi Tianzong's clone's expression changed. He tore open the void and stepped into the void passageway, rushing toward the spirit forbidden extremis. Yi Tianzong's clone in the heavenly court was an avatar that he had spent countless resources and energy to cultivate. It possessed 80% of the strength of his main body. Yi Tianzong's current strength was no weaker than a 9th-step supreme heavenly venerate, so Yi Tianzong's avatar possessed the strength of a 6th-step supreme heavenly venerate. Such an avatar had its own consciousness, but it was completely dominated by the main body. Yi Tianzong had a total of 3 avatars. One of the other 2 was in charge of the Howran divine sect, while the other was by Yi Tianzong's side in Yi Tianzong's inner world. Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu had each cultivated 2 avatars that also possessed 80% of the strength of their main body. This heaven-defying avatar divine ability was something that Yi Tianzong had obtained from the inheritance of the immortal abode. Even with Yi Tianzong's current strength, he was very surprised and secretly marveled at the power and mystery of this divine ability. The distance from the center of the human race's territory to the spirit forbidden extremis was more than 1 trillion miles. Even a great heavenly venerate would need nearly 2 minutes to travel, but Yi Tianzong's clone was extremely powerful. It broke through the void and arrived outside the spirit forbidden extremis in less than 5 seconds. A supreme aura shook the entire universe. Heavenly Venerable Yun Go, who was originally anxious and terrified outside the forbidden spirit lands, was instantly overjoyed when he saw Yi Tianzong's clone tearing through the void and descending. It was as if he had seen his savior in his moment of despair. He hurriedly went forward to greet him. Yun Go greets the boundless supreme. Yi Tianzong's clone nodded and looked at the chaotic ferocious spirits that were attacking the boundary. There were 25 heavenly venerates, 760 great emperors, and 1 supreme heavenly venerate existence. His expression turned solemn. With his strength, he could deal with so many chaotic ferocious spirits given time. However, he wasn't in his original body and didn't have any forbidden divine abilities. He couldn't eliminate the supreme heavenly venerate ferocious spirits quickly. Once the battle started, he wouldn't be able to take care of the aftermath. Seeing the human race's army that was retreating urgently below, Yi Tianzong reached out his hand and grabbed. 10 peaked great emperors came before him. Then, he instructed, everyone, set up a defensive line millions of miles away. I'll leave the weakest chaotic ferocious spirits to you. After that, without waiting for the 10 peaked great emperors to reply, Yi Tianzong waved his hand and the space trembled. The billions of human race's army stationed on the ground were teleported millions of miles away by Yi Tianzong's spatial divine ability. Then, Yi Tianzong waved his hand and sent out a spiritual light message that shot into the void and disappeared. Looking at the chaotic ferocious spirits that had broken through the boundary, Yi Tianzong said to heavenly venerate Yun Go, "Go and watch them. Don't let the chaotic ferocious spirits break out of the defensive line." After that, Yi Tianzong attacked the 25 heavenly venerables and 1 supreme heavenly venerables that had rushed out. Golden fist prints filled the sky and pierced through the spacetime. They attacked the 25 heavenly venerates and the supreme heavenly venerate, causing them to roar with hatred. Yi Tianzong punched out and immediately soared into the 9 heavens. The heavenly venerates and the supreme heavenly venerate ferocious spirits that were angered by Yi Tianzong also followed Yi Tianzong into the 9 heavens. A great battle that involved millions of miles of void broke out in the 9 heavens. The universe shook and the starry sky was on the verge of collapse. The sacred and supreme power collided with the destructive power. It was as though two energies of opposite natures collided, resulting in an explosion that could destroy the void. Time fragments danced in the air. The glaring light illuminated the vast space-time. Spatial cracks that were thousands of miles wide appeared. The aftermath of the energy that tore everything apart swept across the 9 heavens and earth. Yi Tianzong's doppelganger unleashed his strength that could look down on the world. His powerful supreme energy of Tao condensed into the shape of the boundless divine sword. He performed the boundless sword technique that could sweep across the world and cut through time and space. The boundless divine sword pierced through the air. There was nothing that it could not cut through in time and space. An endless river of sword chi traversed the 9 heavens and earth and swept toward the chaos ferocious spirits. These chaos ferocious spirits were too dangerous. Not only were their defenses very strong, but every attack they launched carried a destructive power that could destroy all life and everything in the world. They were a great threat to Yi Tianzong's doppelganger. Even with his supreme Tao body, he was unwilling to come into contact with them directly. He could only transform his Tao energy into swords and perform sword techniques to attack from afar. On the other hand, the chaos ferocious spirits were under the command of the supreme heavenly venerate. The 25 heavenly venerate spirits of chaos attacked Yi Tianzong's doppelganger from all directions. Relying on their strong defensive power and the nature of the power that could destroy everything in the world, the 26 chaos fierce spirits dashed in the endless stream of sword power released by Yi Tianzong's clone, roaring and roaring. Under the powerful threat of the chaos ferocious spirits, Yi Tianzong's doppelganger unleashed a divine power that was not weaker than that of a 6-step supreme heavenly venerate. He also performed the boundless sword technique that he had not used for a long time. It was not that the boundless sword technique was outdated or not powerful enough. It was just that ordinary enemies did not need to use the boundless sword technique at all. Powerful enemies could only use forbidden divine powers in order to end the battle quickly. In fact, the boundless sword technique was still Yi Tianzong's strongest means of fighting enemies, second only to forbidden divine powers. The extremely sharp sword radiance let out a supreme sword cry that pierced the sky. It tore through the 9 heavens, severed the river of time, space, and all the light that could be seen. With an unstoppable sharpness, it slashed the supreme heavenly venerate spirit of chaos at a speed that surpassed time and space. A wound that was hundreds of feet long appeared on the chaos ferocious spirit of chaos. The chaos ferocious spirit of chaos howled in pain. Then it waved its sharp claws at Yi Tianzong's doppelganger. The vast sky suddenly dimmed when the chaos ferocious spirit of chaos swung its huge claws. The huge claws that were tens of millions of miles long blotted out the sky and the sun as they pressed down on Yi Tianzong's doppelganger. At the same time, the 25 heavenly venerate spirits of chaos around Yi Tianzong roared and each spat out a black light beam that could annihilate the void and the world, attacking Yi Tianzong's doppelganger. Yi Tianzong's doppelganger was blocked from all directions. For a moment, Yi Tianzong's doppelganger seemed to be in a precarious situation. Yi Tianzong's doppelganger snorted coldly. The sacred and powerful golden light shone brightly all over his body, illuminating the eternal space. Then, he threw out a domineering punch with his left hand, directly breaking the attack of the huge claws that were tens of millions of miles long. Then, he made a move with his right hand, boundless cold light. Millions of swords that were tens of thousands of miles long slashed across the heaven and earth, then gathered into 25 beams of extreme sword radiance and met the attacks of the 25 chaos ferocious spirits of chaos. Another world-shaking shock broke out, and the violent destructive power flooded the 9 heavens and the void for hundreds of billions of miles. The world-destroying battle was still going on. The battle between Yi Tianzong's doppelganger and the chaos-ferocious spirits of chaos was getting more and more intense and uncontrollable. The range of the battle was getting larger and larger, spreading to even more distant and vast heavens and earth. Yi Tianzong's doppelganger's strength was also increasing. He had already unleashed about 60% of his strength. While Yi Tianzong was fighting the chaos-ferocious spirits of chaos, the heavenly venerables of the Metaspirit clan, the colossal dragon clan, and the knightly clan had finally arrived at the spirit-forbidden extremis and were fighting the chaos-ferocious spirits of chaos that were wreaking havoc. At the same time, the supreme heavenly venerables of the 3 clans had also arrived and were watching the battle from the sidelines. In order to avoid affecting their own clans, the heavenly venerables of the Metaspirit clan, the colossal dragon clan, and the knightly clan lured the chaos-ferocious spirits of chaos to the distant horizon to fight. The heavenly venerables of the other 3 clans naturally noticed the intense battle between Yi Tianzong and the chaos-ferocious spirits of chaos. The heavenly venerables of the Metaspirit clan, the colossal dragon clan, and the knightly clan couldn't help but feel fortunate that the supreme heavenly venerate chaos-ferocious spirits of chaos hadn't chosen to attack their clan's territories. Instead, they had chosen to attack the human race. After the heavenly venerables of the other 3 clans arrived, the heavenly venerables of the human race, who were in seclusion, also received Yi Tianzong's message and rushed over one after another. The first to arrive was the supreme heavenly venerate of the void. After arriving, he immediately went to the 9 heavens void and joined the battle to deal with the chaos-ferocious spirits together with Yi Tianzong's doppelganger. Then, great heavenly venerate Xingyang, great heavenly venerate Jiudi, heavenly venerate Wanlei, heavenly venerate Guyu, Yi Haoran, and the others arrived one after another. More than 100 heavenly venerables of the human race had arrived at the same time. Under the siege of 2 supreme heavenly venerables and more than 100 heavenly venerables, a total of 26 chaos-ferocious spirits were ultimately annihilated regardless of how strong their defenses were. The supreme heavenly venerate chaos-ferocious spirit of chaos was killed by the combined efforts of Yi Tianzong's doppelganger and supreme heavenly venerate of the void. Since the chaos-ferocious spirits weren't living beings of the myriad race's great 1,000 worlds, they didn't have a true spirit hidden in the river of time. After the human race's heavenly venerables were done with the battle, most of them followed Yi Tianzong's doppelganger and supreme heavenly venerate of the void to the sky great path barrier outside the spirit lock extremis. They looked at the spirit lock extremis behind the barrier with great vigilance. Once a chaos-ferocious spirit tried to rush out of the barrier, it would be killed immediately. The dozen or so celestial masters came to the front of the human army that was fighting against the 600 emperor-level chaos-ferocious spirit. They attacked the chaos-ferocious spirits one after another with dazzling divine powers and earth-shattering power. Under the attacks of more than 10 heavenly venerate powerhouses, the great emperor-level chaos-ferocious spirits were quickly annihilated one by one, preventing the human race from suffering a great number of casualties. After the human race's battle ended, the heavenly venerate powerhouses of the Metaspirit clan, colossal dragon clan, and knightly clan also killed the chaos-ferocious spirits one after another with the help of the supreme heavenly venerate. Then, they also came before the spirit lock extremis to observe the situation inside. Chapter 453. Under the gaze of the heavenly venerates of the human race, the Metaspirit race, the giant dragon race, and the knightly race, the huge black waves in the forbidden spirit extremis gradually subsided. Then, the entire extremis regained its deathly stillness. Sigh, is this era coming to an end again? A supreme exalted celestial from the Metaspirit clan who exuded an ancient aura sighed. Huh! Because the supreme heavenly venerate from the Metaspirit race didn't deliberately conceal his voice, the human race heavenly venerates who were close to the metaspirit race also heard him. Yi Tianzong's clone crossed the distance in one step and arrived in front of the supreme heavenly venerate from the metaspirit race. He asked, "Do you know anything? Please enlighten us. The human race will be eternally grateful." At the same time, the supreme heavenly venerate of the void, the supreme heavenly venerates of the giant dragon race, and the knightly race also arrived in front of the supreme heavenly venerate from the metaspirit race. The supreme heavenly venerate from the metaspirit race changed his expression slightly when he sensed the faint oppressive aura from Yi Tianzong's clone. He then said, "There's nothing to hide. You'll find out from the heavenly Tao sooner or later. The great thousand world of the myriad races is divided into epoch. Each epoch has a total of 96 billion years from the beginning to the end. The human race, the giant dragon race, the knightly race, the mysterious underworld race, the earth god race, and the blood demon race were all races that were born in this epoch. Therefore, you don't know about the epoch. The metaspirit race was lucky enough to survive the last epoch. There are 4 great extremists in our world. The forbidden spirit extremists, the endless demon abyss, the ancient sky burial region, and the shattered star sea. The forbidden spirit extremis is here. The endless demon abyss is in the demon race. The ancient sky burial region is in the heavenly saints' territory. The shattered star sea is guarded by the star spirit race. At the end of each epoch, in the last 10 million years, all kinds of chaos ferocious spirits will begin to appear in the 4 great extremists on a large scale. These chaotic ferocious spirits seemed as if they existed for the sake of destruction. They charged through the barrier of the heaven Tao outside the danger zone, destroyed and slaughtered all living beings and non-living beings, and destroyed everything in the world. Everywhere they passed, they left behind an expanse of desolation and deathly silence. Don't think that some weak races are unremarkable. In fact, there are many small races that have been passed down from the previous epoch or even the epoch before that. However, as the epoch changed, their luck changed, and the difficulty of cultivation increased by hundreds or thousands of times. Thus, they could only live on. The change of epochs was the change of eras. It was also the redistribution of the world's providence. You races that were born in this epoch are favored by the heavenly Tao. Your luck and cultivation speed are 10 times greater than the races that survived in the previous epoch. At the end of every epoch, chaos ferocious spirits would suddenly appear from the 4 most dangerous lands as a symbol. At the end of every epoch, only the races that preserved more than 1/10 of their foundation could continue to survive. Otherwise, there would always be all kinds of accidents in the next era. In the end, they would completely disappear from the world within 10 million years. Since such an unforeseen event has occurred in the spirit restriction extremis, it means that the change of epochs has already begun. You races that were born in the current epoch should take care of yourselves. You are the main targets of the chaos ferocious spirit. After saying that, the supreme venerate of the metaspirit clan left with the rest of the heavenly venerate experts. Be careful of the 3 overlord races. In the hundreds of epochs of the myriad races world's history, the 3 races have always dominated the world not only because they are powerful, but also because they hunt the races of various epochs to maintain the luck of their races. After the supreme venerate of the metaspirit clan left, a faint heavenly voice entered the ears of Yi Tianzong's clone. After pausing for a moment, Yi Tianzong's clone regained his composure. Then, he glanced at the supreme venerates of the colossal dragon clan and the knightly clan before leaving with the supreme venerate of the void. After returning to the outside of the spirit restriction extremis, Yi Tianzong's clone said to the supreme venerate of the void, "In order to avoid being caught off guard, we need to set up another barrier outside the Sky Great Path energy barrier. This way we will have time to react if there are any unforeseen events in the spirit restriction extremis in the future. Withdraw the troops below the Great Emperor realm. Leave only the Great Emperors and Heavenly Venerates to guard the place." The Supreme Venerate of the Void nodded and said, "Let's do that. I'll leave the matter of the barrier to you. You can choose any material you want from the Sky Court's treasury." "No problem, leave it to me. The main body has already developed the world-shaking fortresses above the cosmic realm battle fortresses. My idea is to build at least 10 world-shaking fortresses outside the spirit restriction extremis. All the great emperors and heavenly venerates will be stationed in the fortresses. I will be overseeing this place." Supreme Celestial Lord of the Void was slightly shocked upon hearing this. Compared to the world-shaking war fortress, he was more shocked that the person in front of him was not Yi Tianzong's real body, but a doppelganger. If a doppelganger was stronger than him, then how strong was the real body? How did his strength increase so quickly? Were the All Heavens Almighties really that incredible? After calming himself down, the Supreme Venerate of the Void said, "All right, I'll leave these matters to you. I'll go back and instruct the people in the Sky Court to fully cooperate with you. If what the Supreme Venerate of the Metaspirit clan said is true, then the focus of the human race will be on how to survive the epic change." With that, the Supreme Venerate of the Void left. Coincidentally, when the Primal Chaos Ferocious Spirits appeared in the Spirit Restriction Extremis, Primal Chaos Ferocious Spirits also rushed out of the Endless Demon Abyss, the Buried Sky Ancient Region, and the Shattered Star Ocean. Furthermore, the strength and number of Primal Chaos Ferocious Spirits were the same as the ones in the Spirit Restriction Extremis. It's the end of another epoch. It's time to harvest the fortune of those races. A Supreme Venerate of the demon race guarding outside the Endless Demon Abyss announced his decision to the other Supreme Venerates after quelling the attack of the Primal Chaos Ferocious Spirit. "We still have to wait a little longer. The fortune and strength of those races born in this epoch haven't reached their peak yet. We won't be able to gain much if we act now. Let's wait until the last million years. Given our strength, they won't be able to overturn the situation," another Supreme Venerate of the demon race said. "Yes, that makes sense. It's only a few million years. It's just a snap of the fingers. Let's let them live freely for a while longer." Just like that, the Supreme Venerate of the demon race decided the fate of the races born in this epoch in the Great Thousand World. In the Heaven Burial Ancient Region of the Heavenly Saint Clan's territory and the Shattered Star Sea of the Star Spirit Clan's territory, there were similar conversations. It could be seen that the experts of the Demon Clan, the Heavenly Saint Clan, and the Star Spirit Clan were used to this. It wasn't just a few times, but dozens of times. In the human race's territory outside the Spirit Forbidden Extremis, after Yi Tianzong's clone told the human race's Supreme Venerates about the end of the epoch, orders were sent out. Godly kings and great emperors of the human race were mobilized. Endless materials and resources were transported out of the Spirit Forbidden Extremis. Then, under the command of Yi Tianzong's clone, they began to build Sky Suppression Grade, Cosmic Grade, and World-Shaking Grade battle fortresses. Thanks to Yi Tianzong's information on Formation Dao and Tools Dao, the number of human race experts who were proficient in refining weapons and setting up formations increased greatly. With the assistance of millions of godly kings and great emperors, the construction of Sky Suppression Grade, Cosmic Grade, and World-Shaking Grade battle fortresses was very fast. In just 300 years, 50,000 Sky Suppression Grade battle fortresses, 3,000 Cosmic Grade battle fortresses, and 20 World-Shaking Grade battle fortresses were built. However, this was far from enough. The construction of the battle fortresses showed no signs of stopping. The human race's enemies were not only the chaotic ferocious spirits in the Spirit Forbidden Extremis, but also the demon race. According to the Supreme Venerate of the Metaspirit Clan, the three overlord races would begin to harvest the fate of the races born in the current epoch at the end of each epoch. Now that the end of the epoch had begun, the demon race should be preparing to attack the human race. Now, it was a race against time to strengthen the human race's strength and foundation. The colossus that was the human race had been fully mobilized. It was divided into 4 major parts. One part was used to guard the borders under the heavenly venerates' rotation. The other part was led by some heavenly venerates to constantly conquer the weaker races and plunder more territories, resources, and fate. The third part was used to maintain the normal order and operation of the human race's territories. The last and most powerful part of the human race's forces were concentrated in the tens of trillions of miles outside the spirit-forbidden extremis. In this vast area, Yi Tianzong's clone and 120 heavenly venerates of Wengu worked together to cast a great ability and set up an extremely sturdy spatial boundary. It also had the ability to verify the race's identity. Only living beings that truly belonged to the human race could enter this area through the boundary. This was also for the sake of secrecy. They hid the majority of the human race's forces to prevent the demon race from detecting them and making a move in advance. Countless godly kings and great emperors were stationed here, as well as human cultivators above the mythic 5th layer. These people came from the heavenly court and all the human race's monarch, emperor, and sovereign factions. All of the 5th and 6th celestial stage mythic powerhouses worked for some of the godly king powerhouses to build the sky-suppressing battle fortresses. Most of the godly king powerhouses worked for some of the great emperor powerhouses to build the cosmic battle fortresses. Most of the great emperor powerhouses worked for over 100 celestial venerables to build the world-shaking battle fortresses. With the passage of time, most of the human race's materials and resources were gathered outside the spirit-forbidden extremis. Then, numerous fortresses were built and secretly deployed in the human race's territories and borders to strengthen the human race's strength. While the humans were making preparations, the giant dragon tribe, knightly tribe, Shura tribe, demon sonar tribe, and the others were also making their own preparations. They were constantly expanding outwards, conquering the weaker tribes, plundering resources and fate, and increasing their own strength. Chapter 454. In the immortal mansion, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu, who were in the world battlefield, learned about the epic change from their doppelgangers when they returned to the Great Thousand World. Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu each left behind a doppelganger that was equivalent to a 5th-step supreme celestial venerate. In this way, there were 2 doppelgangers of Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu in the Great Thousand World. There were a total of 5 supreme celestial venerates in the Void Supreme Celestial Venerate. As long as the demon race didn't attack or a large number of supreme celestial venerate chaotic ferocious spirits appeared in the spirit confinement extreme land, they were enough to deal with most unexpected situations. After the 3 of them understood the general situation of the human race, they didn't stay for long. Instead, they returned to the world battlefield in the immortal mansion to cultivate and search for more myriad origin flowing crystals. The doppelgangers that followed the 3 of them were also left in the ethereal territory of the human race's Great Thousand World to guard the ethereal pavilion and refine various elixirs to collect resources and materials. Then, they would regularly hand over the materials to the doppelgangers in the Great Thousand World to build more war fortresses. With the cooperation of the doppelgangers, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu tried their best to improve their strength. As long as the 3 of them were strong enough to reach the perfected Supreme Celestial Venerate realm, the human race in the Great Thousand World wouldn't have to fear the attack of the demon race and would have a greater chance of surviving the epic change. 10,000 years passed, and then another 10,000 years passed. Amidst the smoke-filled atmosphere of the Great Thousand World of the myriad races, 100,000 years passed quickly. All the races born in this epoch gradually learned about the secret of the epic change. As a result, there was an endless bloodbath. There were a total of 129,600 races, and a brutal race war broke out between them. In 100,000 years, more than half of the races disappeared from the world forever. In 100,000 years, humanity had exterminated dozens of small and weak races. Their territory had expanded by around 10%, and they had completely digested this new territory. With their massive destiny and resources, they had gained another 12 Empyrean powerhouses. Outside the spirit forbidden grounds, the originally empty space of tens of millions of miles was now occupied by huge fortresses of cosmic universe state and world-shaking level. There were a total of 20,000 cosmic-level fortresses and 100 world-shaking level fortresses. They were located in special positions on the ground. Looking from the sky, it looked like a super formation formed by fortresses. There were 200 great emperors and 20,000 god kings in each cosmic fortress. There were 1,000 great emperors and 1 to 2 heavenly venerables in each world-shaking fortress. It could be said that nearly 70% of the human race's strength was gathered in this region that was only tens of millions of miles wide. It had already been 100,000 years since the last change in the Forbidden Spirit Danger Ground. On this day, the originally deathly still Forbidden Spirit Danger Grounds experienced another change. Through the Heavenly Tao energy barrier, one could see that the Forbidden Spirit Danger Grounds had once again surged with huge black waves that were tens of thousands of feet high. They surged violently, and wave after wave crashed against the Heavenly Tao energy barrier. The sky of hundreds of millions of miles outside the Forbidden Spirit Danger Grounds also became dark. Dense dark clouds covered the sunlight, and cold gales appeared in the world. Noticing this, the human race's masters immediately became alert. Many heavenly venerables with powerful chi appeared in the sky. Behind them, tens of thousands of peak great emperors and late-stage great emperors also appeared one after another. They looked at the Forbidden Spirit Danger Grounds seriously. At the same time, the cosmic-level fortresses and world-shaking-level fortresses on the ground all activated their defensive light shield. The dazzling divine light illuminated the dark sky of hundreds of millions of miles wide. Not long after, roar! Whoa! One roar after another came from the spirit forbidden ground. It carried a violent, murderous intent. In less than 10 seconds, the human heavenly venerables and great emperors saw more than 5,000 chaos beasts of different sizes emerge from the huge black waves and crash into the Heavenly Tao energy barrier. After a series of sizzling sounds, all the chaos beasts charged through the Heavenly Tao energy barrier after a painful struggle. Then, they discovered the human race's masters who were on high alert. The dense aura of vitality that soared into the sky drove the mindless chaos ferocious spirits into a frenzy. They charged directly at the human race experts. When the chaos beasts broke free from the Heavenly Tao energy barrier, the human race's masters didn't take the opportunity to attack because they weren't sure if their attacks would affect the Heavenly Tao energy barrier and cause the huge black waves to leak out. They all knew that the monstrous waves were formed by the gray and black airflow that was filled with death and destruction power in the Forbidden Spirit Danger Grounds. Even heavenly venerables like them didn't dare to touch it at all. Once it leaked out of the Forbidden Spirit Danger Grounds, the consequences would be unimaginable. This time, there was one supreme heavenly venerable, 30 heavenly venerables, and 5,000 great emperors among the chaos beasts. They were stronger than 100,000 years ago. There were 5 more heavenly venerables and 2,500 great emperors among the chaos beasts. Yi Tianzong's doppelganger met the supreme heavenly venerable chaos beasts at once. He lured it up to the 9th heaven void and engaged in a fierce battle there. This time, there were no other heavenly venerable chaos beasts to impede him. Yi Tianzong's doppelganger transformed his Tao energy into a sword. The boundless sword technique soared into the sky with unstoppable sharpness. Streaks of sword radiance slashed the chaos beast's body and left deep wounds. However, Yi Tianzong's doppelganger dodged or broke through the chaos beast's attacks. During the battle, Yi Tianzong's doppelganger had the absolute upper hand. Below the 9th heaven, 100 celestial masters of the human clan were fighting against 30 fierce spirits of the chaos. At least 3 celestial masters were besieging one fierce spirit of the chaos. Fierce spirits of the chaos had no sense of reason and only knew how to kill and destroy. Although they had great defensive power, they were still struggling in the face of the joint attack of the celestial masters, who were several times more powerful than them. After exhausting the fierce spirits of the chaos, they were killed one after another. At the bottom of the ninth heaven void, 5,000 great emperors of the chaos beasts were surrounded by 20,000 peak great emperors and late great emperors. 4 great emperors were ganging up on one chaos beast. Perhaps a great emperor alone wouldn't be a match for a chaos beasts, but 4 great emperors could definitely suppress the chaos beast. Under the joint attack of the human clan experts, the chaos beasts exploded one after another and disappeared completely. The great emperor battlefield and the heavenly venerables battlefield ended one after another. The battle above the ninth heaven void also came to an end. After the supreme chaos beast's energy was depleted by Yi Tianzong's doppelganger, they were soon beaten to the brink of death by Yi Tianzong's doppelganger. Then, a supreme sword light flashed by and the chaos beast's doppelganger was completely eliminated by Yi Tianzong's doppelganger. Yi Tianzong suddenly felt that the surrounding heaven and earth seemed to be more friendly to him. An inexplicable force was added to his body, and the heaven and earth Yuan Qi became more active when he cultivated. Could it be that eliminating chaos beasts was beneficial to heaven and earth, and that was why he was blessed with luck? Previously, because it was the first time he encountered a mutation in the spirit forbidden extremis and eliminated it with the supreme heavenly venerate of the void, he immediately returned to the outside of the spirit forbidden extremis to stand guard. Therefore, he didn't notice it. This time, because he eliminated a chaos beasts on his own, the change was more obvious and he could easily sense it. It seemed like the appearance of chaos beasts was both a crisis and an opportunity for the human clan. Yi Tianzong's doppelganger took a step forward and returned to the outside of the spirit forbidden extremis. Then, he transmitted his discovery to all the heavenly venerates and great emperors that killing chaos beasts could increase one's luck. Then, he waved his hand and sent a message into the void. Not long after, the supreme heavenly venerate of the void tore through the void and arrived. After Yi Tianzong's doppelganger told him about his discovery, the supreme heavenly venerate of the void immediately decided to stay outside the spirit forbidden extremis and keep watch. The battle on the human clan's side ended very quickly. The metaspirit tribe, the colossal dragon tribe, and the knightly tribe also ended their battles quickly because there were no supreme heavenly venerate level chaos beasts attacking them. Furthermore, the powerhouses of the 3 races also discovered the secret that killing chaos beasts could increase one's luck. As the years passed, the war between the races in the great thousand world of the myriad races became even more intense. Countless living beings disappeared forever in the war between the races. Another 100,000 years passed, and the number of races in the great thousand world of the myriad races was reduced by half again. There were less than 30,000 of them left. The human clan had not stopped exaggerating in the past 100,000 years. Once again, they exterminated more than a dozen races and expanded their territory. The number of heavenly venerate powerhouses in the human clan had increased by another 20. The number of heavenly venerate powerhouses in the human clan had exceeded 240. Perhaps it was because the foundation of the human clan had begun to explode at the end of the epoch. Outstanding young talents of the human clan emerged one after another, far surpassing the standard that they should have in normal times. Under the intentional arrangements of the upper echelons of the human clan, countless geniuses advanced triumphantly and fought in all directions. With the supply of large amounts of resources, their strength increased rapidly. While the various geniuses in the human clan's territory were growing rapidly, another wave of chaos beasts broke out outside the spirit restriction extremis. This time, the number and strength of the chaos ferocious spirits had increased again. There was still one supreme celestial venerate chaos ferocious spirit, but there were now 60 supreme celestial venerates and 8,000 great emperor chaos ferocious spirits. When Yi Tianzong had just ascended to the great thousand world of the myriad races, such a force had been enough to easily destroy the human clan. However, it had only caused some trouble for the human clan now. This time, the supreme heavenly venerate Chaos Beast was left to deal with while Yi Tianzong's clone watched over from the side. The remaining heavenly venerate and great emperor Chaos Beasts were left to the human clan's heavenly venerates and great emperors. After a series of battles, the human clan had paid the price of hundreds of great emperors to kill all the Chaos Beasts. On the other side, the Meta-Spirit clan, the Colossal Dragon clan, and the Knightly clan had paid a huge price to kill the Chaos Beasts. The Spirit Restriction Extremis regained its deathly silence. However, the experts of the human clan, the Meta-Spirit clan, the Colossal Dragon clan, and the Knightly clan all had heavy hearts as they looked at the Spirit Restriction Extremis. The Chaos Beasts that emerged from the Spirit Restriction Extremis were getting stronger and stronger. At this rate, there were still more than 9 million years until the end of the epoch. How strong would the Chaos Beasts be by then? Would they still be able to withstand them? Chapter 455. Time didn't change according to anyone's will and continued to move forward. Another 100,000 years passed in a flash. However, no chaos spirits appeared in the Spirit Forbidden Extremis this time. It was as silent as ever. However, this didn't make the powerhouses of the elemental spirit race, the giant dragon race, and the knightly race relax. The elemental spirit race's supreme Empyrean generously shared some of the secrets of the Spirit Forbidden Extremis with the powerhouses of the human race, the giant dragon race, and the knightly race. The previous anomalies in the Spirit Forbidden Extremis were actually a kind of shallow probing. If they couldn't even pass the shallow probing, then they could only die out completely. The chaos spirits would become even stronger in the future. The eruption of the 4 Forbidden Extremis at the end of each epoch was actually a world-ending calamity. No race was spared. Those who were strong could hold on for a while longer, while those who were weak could only be destroyed. The key was whether they could endure for tens of millions of years. As the 4 closest races to the Spirit Forbidden Extremis, the elemental spirit race, the human race, the giant dragon race, and the knightly race naturally hoped for each other to be as strong as possible. Once one side disappeared, the other races would face even greater pressure. If the human race, the elemental spirit race, the giant dragon race, and the knightly race were all defeated by the chaos spirits, then the chaos spirits' footsteps would expand to a wider area of the Great Thousand Domains. Accordingly, the elemental spirit race, the human race, the giant dragon race, and the knightly race wouldn't have the right to survive until the next epoch. At present, the elemental spirit race, the human race, the giant dragon race, and the knightly race had all evacuated from the vast territory 10 billion miles outside the Spirit Forbidden Extremis. Those who remained were most of the powerhouses of the 4 races. Take the human race for example. There were now 200 human Empyreans, more than 6 million great emperors, and more than 300 million godkings stationed in the 10 billion mile territory. There were also more than 100,000 cosmic universe-level fortresses and 200 world-shaking level fortresses guarding the front lines. Time flowed and another 200,000 years passed. It had been 300,000 years since the last Chaos Spirit attack. On this day, the originally deathly still forbidden spirit lands once again experienced an unforeseen event. This time, the unforeseen event and movement were far greater than the previous one. Inside the entire forbidden spirit land, the endless grayish-black airflow had gathered into countless enormous tornadoes. Each tornado was hundreds of thousands of miles in diameter, connecting the sky and the earth, with no end in sight. The vast black tornado smashed against the barrier of the heavenly way with enough power to sweep through the world, causing faint ripples. It was like a pebble thrown into a vast lake. Seeing this, the human Empyrean powerhouses felt their hearts turn cold. Before this, when the 100,000-foot-long black waves crashed against the heavenly Tao barrier, the heavenly Tao barrier remained as stable as Mount Tai, not moving at all. But now there were actually faint ripples. Could it be that in the future, the heavenly Tao barrier wouldn't be able to prevent the destructive strength from leaking out of the spirit trap? Before they could continue thinking, a series of earth-shattering roars of slaughter came from the danger zone. All the celestial venerables narrowed their eyes. More than 200,000 chaos-ferocious spirits roared as they emerged from the spirit-forbidding extremis. Judging from the size of the chaos-ferocious spirits, there were 2 supreme chaos-ferocious spirits, 100 heavenly venerables, and 200,000 emperor-level chaos-ferocious spirits. Such strength far exceeded that of the attack 300,000 years ago. Prepare for battle. Following the appearance of the chaos-ferocious spirits, the human Empyrean powerhouses issued orders. The fortresses on the ground and in the sky all activated their defensive light shields and began to gather energy. As soon as the chaos-ferocious spirits rushed out of the heavenly way barrier, they would be able to give them a head-on blow. The moment the 2 supreme chaos-ferocious spirits rushed out of the heavenly way barrier, Yi Tianzong's clone and the supreme heavenly venerables of the void immediately made their moves. They directly used their divine abilities and teleported the chaos-ferocious spirits to the void of the 9 heavens. Then, a great battle broke out in the void of the 9 heavens. As for the heavenly venerables that followed closely behind, they were also lured away by the human Empyrean powerhouses and flew into the endless sky to fight. As soon as the Emperor-level chaos-ferocious spirit came out, it was attacked by tens of thousands of divine purification lights from the cosmic war fortresses. According to the previous battles, the human Empyrean powerhouses discovered that the divine purification lights from the battle fortresses were more lethal than the divine annihilation lights against the chaos-ferocious spirit. Therefore, the human race increased the deployment of the divine purification light. The strength of the chaos-ferocious spirits that erupted this time was much weaker than the human race. As long as the human race dealt with them carefully, there would be too many casualties. Moreover, they had the help of so many battle fortresses. If there were still many casualties, it could only be said that the human race was too useless. The moment the 200,000 Emperor-level chaos-ferocious spirits rushed out, the human Empyrean powerhouses who had heard countless drills immediately arranged 10 world-shaking fortresses and 10,000 cosmic war fortresses according to a special position and formed the Great Evil Subduing Formation. This great formation was a powerful formation that Yi Tianzong had found in his inheritance. Once the great formation formed a space of its own, the space contained an extremely powerful spatial sealing power. Any living being that entered the great formation would find it difficult to move an inch, and their strength would be reduced to less than 10%. Moreover, the more powerhouses that participated in the formation, the greater the power of the great formation. If the formation was powerful enough, it could even seal a perfected Supreme Empyrean. As soon as the Great Evil Subduing Formation was formed, all the chaos-ferocious spirits within a radius of 1 billion miles were immediately locked in the formation. Although they roared with all their might, they still couldn't move. The human Empyrean powerhouses didn't let go of such a great opportunity. Immediately, the dark light towers in the battle fortresses gathered a huge amount of energy. Then, beams of divine purification lights condensed into light pillars and attacked the chaos-ferocious spirit. Under the continuous attack of the divine purification lights, more than 100,000 chaos-ferocious spirits were unwillingly eliminated. As for the chaos-ferocious spirits that weren't covered by the Great Formation, they were intercepted by the human Great Emperors and destroyed. The Emperor-level battlefield was the first to end, followed by the Heavenly Venerate battlefield, and lastly, the Supreme Heavenly Venerate battlefield. In the void above the 9 heavens, Yi Tianzong's clone and Supreme Heavenly Venerate of the Void had a fierce battle and eliminated 2 supreme chaos-ferocious spirits, one after another. At the same time, the power of providence blessed both of them, making their cultivation easier. Providence wasn't very important to Yi Tianzong's clone because his strength was fixed at 80% of his original body. His strength would only increase if his original body continued to grow stronger. Now, his strength had reached the 7th step supreme heavenly venerate level. Moreover, the providence that his original body possessed far exceeded any supreme heavenly venerate in the great 1,000 worlds of the myriad races. The providence obtained from eliminating a supreme chaos ferocious spirit was just a drop in the bucket. After returning to the ground, Yi Tianzong's clone said to Supreme Heavenly Venerate of the Void, "You take care of this place. I'll go to the Metaspirit clan, the Colossal Dragon clan, and the Knightly clan to take a look. There are some questions that need to be verified." "Okay, go ahead." Yi Tianzong's clone took a step forward and concealed his track. Then, he arrived at the territory of the Metaspirit clan on the other side of the Forbidden Spirit extremist. The Chaos Ferocious Spirits attacking the Metaspirit clan weren't as strong as the Human clan, but there was still one Supreme Chaos Ferocious Spirit, 60 Heavenly Venerate Ferocious Spirits, and 100,000 Emperor-level Ferocious Spirits. On the other hand, the Metaspirit clan only had less than 80 Heavenly Venerate experts. Therefore, this battle was more difficult. There were 2 supreme heavenly venerates of the Metaspirit clan. After one of them dealt with the supreme chaos ferocious spirit, the other helped the Metaspirit clan heavenly venerate deal with the heavenly venerate chaos ferocious spirit. Yi Tianzong fell into deep thought after seeing the situation of the Metaspirit clan. Then, he went to the Colossal Dragon clan and the Knightly clan. The Colossal Dragon clan and the Knightly clan only had one supreme heavenly venerate each and less than 50 heavenly venerate expert. The Chaos Ferocious Spirits attacking the 2 clans were respectively 1 supreme Chaos Ferocious Spirit, 40 heavenly venerate Ferocious Spirits, and 80,000 Emperor-level Ferocious Spirit. There was indeed a problem. The Chaos Ferocious Spirits that the Human clan encountered were stronger than the Metaspirit clan, the Colossal Dragon clan, and the Knightly clan every time. Could these Chaos Ferocious Spirits be able to see or sense which clan's providence and strength were stronger? Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense that the Chaos Ferocious Spirits attacking the Human clan were stronger than the other 3 clans. What kind of existence was controlling the Chaos Ferocious Spirits? Yi Tianzong's clone, who couldn't figure it out, temporarily suppressed the secrets and questions at the bottom of his heart. Then, he returned to the Human clan's territory. Although the Metaspirit clan, the Colossal Dragon clan, and the Knightly clan were having a difficult time, they could at least survive this time. There was no need for him to worry, nor was there an obligation to help the other clans. The most important thing now was to ensure that the Human clan safely survived the epic calamity. He told his discovery to Supreme Heavenly Venerate of the Void. Supreme Heavenly Venerate of the Void pondered for a moment before saying, "Among the clans born in the current epoch, the Human clan is indeed the strongest." Huh! Yi Tianzong's clone was stunned. Then, he realized that he hadn't fully grasped the situation in the past. Apart from the Metaspirit clan, the Ancient Royal clan, the 9 Heavens Phoenix clan, and the Sky Mighty Celestial clan, the Human clan was indeed the strongest clan born in the current epoch. Yi Tianzong's clone gradually understood why the Chaos Ferocious Spirits attacking the Human clan were the strongest when he recalled what the Metaspirit clan's Heavenly Venerate had said. Time continued to pass. It had been 100,000 years since the last time the 2 supreme Chaos Ferocious Spirits attacked the Human clan. Under the leadership of some Heavenly Venerate experts, the Human clan annihilated dozens of clans at the rear and expanded their territory by about 1/10. Compared to the Human clan's territory 600,000 years ago, the Human clan's territory had more than doubled. It spanned tens of millions of miles in all directions. It was vast and boundless. Now, the number of clans in the Great Thousand World had sharply decreased to 300, and each of them had at least 10 heavenly venerates overseeing it. At the end of the epoch, the number of heavenly venerate experts from various clans increased rapidly, perhaps due to the eruption of the clan's providence and potential. The human clan now had more than 350 heavenly venerate experts. Chapter 456. Due to the three corpses mystic technique, the strength of the human race's heavenly venerate powerhouses increased rapidly in just a few 100,000 years, far surpassing the heavenly venerates of other races. After another 10,000 years, great heavenly venerate Xingyang finally completed the three corpses mystic technique, and his strength increased greatly. After 1,000 years of consolidation, he broke through to the supreme heavenly venerate realm and became the fifth supreme heavenly venerate of the human race. After great heavenly venerate Xingyang, great heavenly venerate Jiudi, great heavenly venerate Luo He, great heavenly venerate Wanlei, great heavenly venerate Guyu, great heavenly venerate Taishian, and the others also severed the three corpses mystic technique. Yi Haoren, Yi Haoyun, and the others all reached the great heavenly venerate realm and severed the three corpses mystic technique. The overall strength of the human race was improving step by step, becoming more and more powerful. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Xin Yu, who were in the world battlefield in the boundless immortal abode, were also improving their strength. The three of them had been in the world battlefield for more than 6 million years. In the past 6 million years, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Xin Yu had obtained a total of more than 6,000 myriad origin flowing crystals. The three of them had also reached the 9th step of the supreme heavenly venerate realm. They were only one step away from becoming a perfected supreme heavenly venerate and becoming the strongest powerhouses in the great thousand world. In fact, the three of them were no weaker than perfected supreme heavenly venerates. After all, the three of them had comprehended too many heaven and earth laws. It was extremely difficult to comprehend one heaven and earth law to perfection. It required endless time and energy, let alone 27 heaven and earth laws. In particular, Yi Tianzong had comprehended 108 heaven and earth laws. Every time one comprehended a heaven and earth law, the difficulty of improving one's strength would increase exponentially. It was not as simple as 1 plus 1. Without the myriad origin flowing crystals, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Xin Yu would not have been able to comprehend heaven and earth laws to perfection even if the great thousand universe was destroyed. The higher one's cultivation level was, the more myriad origin flowing crystals one would need. Moreover, Yi Tianzong and the other two needed to comprehend many kinds of laws of heaven and earth at the same time. Yi Tianzong estimated that Ling Xinyue and Xin Yu would need at least 10,000 universal flow crystals to become perfected supreme heavenly venerates, while he would need at least 50,000 universal flow crystals to become a perfected supreme heavenly venerate. In the past 6 million years, the three of them had explored the heavenly venerate battlefield hundreds of times, but they had only obtained slightly more than 6,000, and this was with the advantage of their identities. According to what Yi Tianzong knew, other supreme heavenly venerates might not be able to obtain a universal flowing crystal even after tens of thousands of years. Since he could not increase his strength in a short period of time, he might as well take out some myriad origin flowing crystals to increase the strength of the human race in the great thousand world. Let the human race have more supreme heavenly venerate. First, he had to survive this epic tribulation. Then, he would have plenty of time to collect myriad origin flowing crystals. Anyway, the strength of the three of them was definitely not weaker than those perfected supreme heavenly venerates who had only comprehended 1 or 2 laws of heaven and earth. Yi Tianzong felt that he was too useless if he was still not a match for those perfected supreme heavenly venerates despite having such a powerful opportunity like the vast expanse immortal abode and spending so many resources that others could not even dream of. With the three of them, it was equivalent to the human race having 3 perfected supreme heavenly venerate. With such top-notch combat strength, what was there to be afraid of? The demon race did not need to be too wary. The next step was how to make the human race stronger as quickly as possible. Yi Tianzong had long been prepared for this. The clone he had left in the human race's great thousand world in the ethereal territory had not done nothing for the past 6 million years. The clone had all the cultivation experience and law comprehension of the main body, but it was limited by a certain supreme iron rule, so its strength could only be 80% of the main body's at most. For more than 6 million years, Yi Tianzong's doppelganger used the power of the Misty Pavilion and the Black Heaven sect to obtain countless spiritual herbs. Then, he refined all of them into king-level, emperor-level, and supreme-level divine pills. Not only that, but Yi Tianzong's clone also selected some people from the Black Heaven sect as his in-name disciples. He taught them the cultivation method of alchemy and used all kinds of resources to increase their strength, so that they could help him refine king-level divine pills and pills below king-level. After 6 million years, the number of supreme divine pills alone had exceeded 3 million. The number of emperor and king divine pills was simply uncountable. They filled up an interspatial ring with a radius of 1,000,000 miles. In addition to these pills, there were also 6,000 supreme treasures and 10 million emperor weapons that Yi Tianzong's clone had refined with various emperor and supreme divine materials. For more than 6 million years, Yi Tianzong's clone had very little time to rest and had always been busy. Now, he had finally achieved great result. After taking the 90% pills and weapons refined over 6 million years from the clone and letting the clone rest for a while, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu left the immortal mansion and returned to the heavens' expanse heavenly palace in the great thousand worlds of myriad races. Opening their eyes, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu did not expose their auras. They did not want the whole world to know that they were very powerful. Using his soul to scan the entire heavenly court, he found that there were only 10 heavenly venerable powerhouses overseeing it. Most of the guards and powerhouses of the heavenly court were also not present. It seemed that they had all been sent to the forbidden spirit lands. Since there was nothing to do, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu first went to the Haoran divine sect and gave 1/10 of the pills and weapons to the clone that was overseeing it. Then, the three of them tore through the void and headed to the forbidden spirit lands. An extremely powerful and supreme aura swept through space and time. Under this supreme divine might, the heavens and earth trembled and space-time trembled. Even supreme heavenly venerables did not have such divine might. Under this pressure, the human heavenly venerable powerhouses felt as if an ancient divine mountain was pressing down on them. Every move they made was extremely difficult. While everyone was still in shock, the space above thousands of miles in the sky trembled and flowed with colorful lights. Then, a 1,000-mile spatial vortex was formed. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu stepped out of it. The moment the three of them appeared, the heavens and earth fell silent. Space-time stopped. In the entire universe, there was only Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu's unconcealable divine light. They were everything. They were the heavens and earth. Is that the heavens' expanse holy man? How can there be two of him? Could it be that the heavens' expanse holy man that we've seen all this time was just his clone? Only the heavens' expanse holy man can be so powerful and unbelievable. Those who could become heavenly venerables were all intelligent individuals. After the human heavenly venerables saw Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu, they guessed that the heavens' expanse holy man that they had seen all this time was his clone. Otherwise, why wasn't the heavens' expanse holy man's wife, who was always by his side? This was something that they did not dare to ask before. In the blink of an eye, the human heavenly venerables and great emperors regained their mobility. Then, Yi Tianzong's voice rang in their minds, "Gather at the heavens' expanse heavenly palace." Right now, the forbidden spirit lands had become the place where most of the human heavenly venerables' strength was gathered. Therefore, the human heavenly venerables' heavenly palaces were built here according to the heavenly court's layout. After Yi Tianzong's clone saw Yi Tianzong, he said, "Greetings, original body." Yi Tianzong nodded and then sat on the main seat of the Heaven's Expanse heavenly palace. He asked his clone about the recent situation of the human heavenly venerables and the world of the 10,000 races. While his clone was talking to Yi Tianzong, the human heavenly venerables who received Yi Tianzong's message all rushed to the Heaven's Expanse heavenly palace. When they saw Yi Tianzong and Yi Tianzong's clone, all the human heavenly venerables exclaimed in their hearts, "What we saw before was indeed a clone." If his clone had the strength of a supreme heavenly venerate, how terrifying would his original body be? When supreme heavenly venerables Su Kong and Xingyang arrived, Yi Tianzong also learned about the general situation from his clone. Then, he said, "From now on I'll be here. You can go back to the heavenly court. I'm worried about the demon clan. Pay more attention to them." "Okay, I got it," Yi Tianzong's clone replied and then tore the void apart and disappeared into the Heaven's Expanse heavenly palace. Looking at the human heavenly venerables who had all arrived, Yi Tianzong said, "I just learned about the current situation from my clone. The human heavenly venerables have been getting stronger and stronger. However, the chaotic ferocious spirits are getting stronger with each attack. The Demon Clan, Heavenly Saint Clan, and Star Spirit Clan can't help but want to harvest the fate of their clans. The current strength of the human heavenly venerables is not enough for us to safely pass through the epic calamity. This time, I called all of you here because I have something to give you to make the human heavenly venerables stronger." After saying that, Yi Tianzong waved his hand and 5,000 supreme-level treasures and 2,000,000 supreme-level divine elixirs appeared in the main hall of the Heaven's Expanse heavenly palace. They shone with brilliant lights and dazzling divine splendor. A powerful aura filled the spacious main hall. "This is... oh my God! So many! Am I dreaming?" Everyone was stunned. They could not believe their eyes. 5,000 powerful supreme-level treasures and 2,000,000 supreme-level divine elixirs. This was an immeasurable amount of wealth. There were only a few hundred supreme-level treasures in the entire human heavenly venerables. Moreover, compared to the treasures in front of them, there was a huge gap. These supreme-level treasures were all refined by the clones of seventh-step supreme heavenly venerables, using various supreme-level divine elixirs and powerful weapon refining legacies. Naturally, they were not on the same level as the treasures refined by the heavenly venerables themselves. As for the supreme-level divine elixirs, other than Yi Tianzong and the other two, no one else knew how to refine them. Human heavenly venerables can choose one supreme-level divine elixir and one supreme-level divine elixir each. Take it as my reward for protecting and fighting for the human heavenly venerables all these years. The rest are stored in the treasury of the heavenly court. If you want to get them, you have to exchange them with contribution points. You have 10 breaths of time to choose. If you don't, I won't wait for you." After Yi Tianzong finished speaking, all the human heavenly venerables immediately grabbed the treasures they liked. They were afraid that they would be snatched away by others. With a thought from Yi Tianzong, 2 treasures appeared in front of Supreme Heavenly Venerate Su Kong and Supreme Heavenly Venerate Xingyang. They were both super treasures, one for offense and one for defense. The two of them did not stand on ceremony and reached out to take the treasures. After 10 breaths of time, Yi Tianzong waved his hand and kept the remaining treasures and supreme-level divine elixirs into a Qian Kuan ring. Then, with a stroke of his finger, a small hole appeared in the space. Yi Tianzong threw the Qian Kuan ring into the hole and passed it to his clone that had returned to the heavenly court. After doing this, another Qian Kuan ring appeared in Yi Tianzong's hand. He said, "There are 100 billion emperor-level divine elixirs, 6 million emperor weapons, 10 trillion king-level divine elixirs, 6 trillion grade 5 and grade 6 divine elixirs, and 20,000 heavenly ascension supreme elixirs. When you go back, spread the news. All the great emperors of the human race around the spirit-forbidden lands should come to the heavens' expanse heavenly palace to receive 10 emperor-level divine elixirs. Divine kings should come and receive 5 emperor-level divine elixirs. Those at the 5th and 6th heavens should each receive 5 divine elixirs. These people's divine elixirs will be distributed to them by their respective divine kings. These are the rewards that I'm giving to the human race experts. You have to supervise them carefully. The remaining divine elixirs and weapons are in the heavenly court's treasury. Whoever wants them can exchange for them with contribution points. The human race heavenly venerables could no longer be described as shocked. There was only endless shock in their minds. The supreme heavenly venerables suppressed the shock in his heart and coughed lightly. He shouted in a low voice, "What are you all still standing there for?" The human race heavenly venerables seemed to have woken up from a dream. They bowed respectfully to Yi Tianzong and said, "Tao venerables are so kind. We'll definitely supervise them strictly." They could already foresee that with such boundless wealth and resources, the human race's strength would usher in a huge leap. Yi Tianzong nodded and said, "All of you can go now. There will be a battle at the end of the era. Don't relax your strength. Yes, we'll take our leave." Other than the people that Yi Tianzong sent a message to stay behind, the rest of the human race heavenly venerables all left the heavens expanse heavenly palace. Chapter 457. Those that Yi Tianzong asked to stay were Supreme Heavenly Venerate Su Kong, Supreme Heavenly Venerate Xingyang, Great Heavenly Venerate Jiodi, Yi Haoren, Yi Haoyun, and Yi Xianchen. Great Heavenly Venerate Wanlei, Great Heavenly Venerate Guyu, Great Heavenly Venerate Taixian, Li Tsang, Yuan Su, Yu Chen, and Zhiyang. Looking at these people, Yi Tianzong said, "The 10th step of the Supreme Heavenly Venerate 10 steps is the perfected Supreme Heavenly Venerate 10 step. They have completely comprehended a kind of heaven and earth law and are almost immortal. The demon race, heavenly sacred tribe, and star spirit tribe are the overlord races that were born at the beginning of heaven and earth. After countless epochs, they have harvested the providence of countless races. The number of supreme heavenly venerates is far greater than what is shown on the surface. There is probably more than one perfected supreme heavenly venerate patriarch. The gap between the human race and the demon race is still very big. Now that the end of the epoch has arrived, the providence of the races born in this epoch is also exploding. The demon race doesn't have much time left for us." Everyone's expression changed drastically when Yi Tianzong said this. However, Yi Tianzong didn't stop. Instead, he continued, "However, you don't have to worry. The 3 of us have already reached the 9th step of the Supreme Heavenly Venerate. Our strength isn't weaker than those perfected Supreme Heavenly Venerate. My 3 clones also have the strength of 7th step and 8th step Supreme Heavenly Venerate. The clones of New Moon and Shin, you also have the strength of 6th step Supreme Heavenly Venerate. In terms of top-level strength, we already have enough strength to protect ourselves. What the human race needs next is more Supreme Heavenly Venerates. Only by having more powerhouses can the human race have a greater chance of surviving this epic calamity and preserve more vitality. As long as we survive this calamity, we will have plenty of time to slowly reduce the gap between us and the 3 overlord races." After Yi Tianzong finished speaking, Yi Tianyu, who was Yi Tianzong's younger brother, said, "Big brother, we also want to increase our strength quickly. However, it takes a long time to advance in the Heavenly Venerate realm, let alone a Supreme Heavenly Venerate. It's too difficult to increase our strength." Everyone felt the same way. With the 3 corpses mystic art passed down by Yi Tianzong, the human Empyrean powerhouses were able to increase their strength far faster than before. But in this grim situation, it still seemed a bit slow. Yi Tianzong said slowly, "Of course I know what you're talking about. That's why I've kept you here. I want everyone here to increase their strength as quickly as possible." With that, Yi Tianzong produced a rainbow-colored crystal that radiated with the aura of laws. Upon seeing everyone's doubtful gazes, Yi Tianzong said, "This is a law-divine crystal that contains the mysteries of laws. Empyreans can quickly increase their cultivation and strength if they comprehend it. This thing is very useful for Great Heavenly Venerate. A late-stage Great Heavenly Venerate can break through to the Great Heavenly Venerate realm with less than 800 of them. Great Heavenly Venerates can also use them to increase their cultivation and strength, but they aren't very useful. As for Supreme Heavenly Venerates, they are completely useless." Law-divine crystals were also a heaven-defying cultivation resource unique to the world battlefield in the Immortal Mansion. They were at the level of a top-notch supreme-grade resource vein. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu had only discovered 2 law-divine crystal veins in the 6 million years they had spent in the world battlefield. The reserves were still very plentiful. The 2 veins had about 5 million law-divine crystals. After Yi Tianzong finished speaking, he waved his hand and a 7-colored mountain appeared in the hall. It was completely made of law-divine crystals. Law-divine crystals are no longer useful to me. There are a total of 30,000 law-divine crystals. Everyone below the Supreme Heavenly Venerate realm can have 1,000 each. Send the rest to the Heavenly Court's treasury. As Yi Tianzong's words fell, the mountain of law-divine crystals automatically scattered and 1,000 law-divine crystals appeared in front of everyone. Everyone happily put them away. As for the remaining law-divine crystals, Yi Tianzong put them away. After doing all this, Yi Tianzong once again took out a 9-colored flowing crystal that was neither real nor virtual. He said, "This is the myriad source flowing crystal. It can absorb and gather the power of all things in the world and the origin of law, and finally transform it into the myriad source power. Myriad origin power can help Great Heavenly Venerates break through to the Supreme Heavenly Venerate realm and allow them to continue increasing their strength. I only have less than 200 left. Everyone here has already become a Supreme Heavenly Venerate or has the potential and hope to become a Supreme Heavenly Venerate. There isn't enough time for you to continue increasing your strength, so I can only use some method." After Yi Tianzong finished speaking, he distributed a total of 180,000 source flowing crystals to everyone under everyone's shocked and fiery gazes. Supreme Heavenly Venerate Void got 35, Supreme Heavenly Venerate Xing Yang got 25, Yi Haoran and the others got 8 each, Great Heavenly Venerate Jiudi, Great Heavenly Venerate Wanlei, Great Heavenly Venerate Guyu, and Great Heavenly Venerate Tai Xian got 6 each, and Li Tsang, Yuan Su, Yu Chen, and 9 sons got 4 each. After the distribution of the myriad origin flowing crystals, Yi Tianzong felt his heart ache. Although he had decided to use the myriad origin flowing crystals to nurture the human race's supreme heavenly venerates, he had spent a lot of effort with New Moon and Shin Yu to obtain them. They had even gone through many battles to obtain them. On average, they had only obtained one every few thousand years. Now that he had taken out 180 of them at once, he was very conflicted. He suddenly wanted to go back on his word and ask for them back. Everyone who had obtained the myriad origin flowing crystals was very excited. They had never thought that they would one day obtain such an incredible supreme treasure. Even Supreme Heavenly Venerate Void, who had existed for the longest time, couldn't help but be pleasantly surprised. He revealed a happy smile. At this time, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu's expressions were a little ugly. Yi Tianzong looked at the happy people with a faint gaze. He gritted his teeth and said, "This thing doesn't exist in our world. New Moon, Shen Yu, and I went through a lot of difficulties to find it in the primal chaos. We were only lucky enough to obtain one after thousands of years. You'd better not show off anymore." Hearing this, everyone looked at Yi Tianzong and the other two's expressions and felt a little awkward. At the same time, they hurriedly put the myriad origin flowing crystals into their own Qiankuan rings, afraid that Yi Tianzong would go back on his word. Yi Tianzong snorted coldly and said impatiently, "Hurry up and leave. You'd better digest the things I gave you as soon as possible before I go back on my word." After saying that, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu disappeared from the heavens expanse heavenly palace. It seemed that no one knew where they went. After Yi Tianzong and the other two disappeared, everyone did not continue to delay. They all returned to their respective heavenly palaces and seized the time to use the things that Yi Tianzong left behind to improve their own strength. Even Yi Haoran and the others were no exception. Although they knew that Yi Tianzong, who always liked to hide his cards, must have more myriad origin flowing crystals and law divine crystals, the things in their hands were already enough for them to reach the supreme heavenly venerate realm. The most important thing now was to quickly improve their strength. Time passed year by year. Supreme Heavenly Venerate Void, Supreme Heavenly Venerate Xingyang, and the others were all in seclusion. Only Yi Tianzong was left in charge outside. Under Yi Tianzong's arrangement, the construction of the cosmic universe and world-shaking fortresses did not stop. More and more cosmic universe and world-shaking fortresses were built and deployed in the spirit-forbidden lands and the places bordering the demon territory. At the same time, in the human territory, according to Yi Tianzong's plan, the human tribes scattered in every corner began to gather in large cities. Those large cities were actually void suppression and cosmic universe-level fortresses. Perhaps their offensive power could not be compared to a fortress that was completely used for war, but their defensive capabilities were not weak at all. In this way, if a war broke out between the human tribe and the demon tribe, the weak human tribe would at least be much safer hiding in the various cities. During the calamity at the end of the era, they would also be able to retain more vitality. In the blink of an eye, 1,000,000 years had passed. In the 1,000,000 years, the spirit-forbidden lands erupted a total of 3 times. Each time, the chaos-ferocious spirits that attacked the human tribe were stronger than the previous time. In the most recent attack, the number of chaos-ferocious spirits that attacked the human tribe had reached 3 supreme chaos-ferocious spirits, 300 heavenly venerate chaos-ferocious spirits, and 3,000,000 emperor-level ferocious spirits. Such a powerful lineup was enough to easily annihilate the Meta-Spirit tribe, the Colossal Dragon tribe, and the Knightly tribe. However, in front of Yi Tianzong, who was invincible in the Supreme Celestial Venerate realm, the 3 Supreme Chaos Ferocious Spirits were severely injured with 1 slap and killed with 2 slap. The remaining Heavenly Venerate Chaos Ferocious Spirits and Emperor-level Chaos Ferocious Spirits cooperated closely with the human tribe's increasingly powerful attacks and wiped out all the Chaos Ferocious Spirits with minimal casualties. In addition to the human tribe, the Colossal Dragon tribe and the Knightly tribe outside the Spirit-Forbidden Lands had already suffered great losses in the battle with the Chaos Ferocious Spirit. Their supreme celestial venerates were severely injured, and there were less than 10 heavenly venerates left. They had no choice but to withdraw from their original territory and retreat far away from the Spirit-Forbidden Lands, becoming a low-ranking tribe. Now, in the entire Great Thousand World, apart from the Demon Tribe, the Heavenly Saint Tribe, the Star Spirit Tribe, the Sky Mighty Celestial Tribe, the 9 Heaven Phoenix Tribe, the Ancient Royal Tribe, the Metaspirit Tribe, the Human Tribe, and the Colossal Dragon Tribe and the Knightly Tribe, there were only 12 tribes in total. At the end of the era, the providence of the various tribes had exploded and their strength had increased at an increasingly rapid pace. Now, in the current era, there were only 13 tribes left. Apart from the human tribe, the other 12 tribes all had supreme celestial venerate. In less than 2,000,000 years, more than 10 supreme celestial venerates had been born. This was unimaginable before the end of the era. The Metaspirit tribe had also suffered great losses due to the multiple attacks of the Chaos Ferocious Spirit. In the end, they had no choice but to merge with the Ancient Royal Tribe. The Ancient Royal Tribe was much stronger than the Metaspirit tribe. There were more than 100 heavenly venerates and 4 supreme celestial venerates in the tribe. The strongest one had reached the 5th step supreme celestial venerate realm. In addition to the 2 injured supreme celestial venerates of the Metaspirit tribe and 18 heavenly venerates, the ancient royal tribe had a total of 6 supreme celestial venerates and more. Chapter 458. Over the past million years, Yi Tianzong had also controlled the immortal mansion to carefully investigate the powerhouses of the demon race, Heavenly Saints tribe, Star Astral tribe, Sky Mighty Celestial tribe, and 9 Heavens Phoenix tribe. According to the results of his investigation, the 9 Heavens Phoenix tribe had already gone through 3 era calamities and currently had 150 heavenly venerates and 7 supreme heavenly venerate. The strongest one was a 6-step supreme heavenly venerate. The Sky Mighty Celestial tribe had already gone through 4 era calamities and currently had 200 heavenly venerates and 9 supreme heavenly venerate. The strongest one was a 7th-step supreme heavenly venerate. On the other hand, the demon race had gone through countless eras and many supreme heavenly venerates had fallen. They currently had more than 6,400 heavenly venerates and 160 supreme heavenly venerate. The strongest ones were 3 perfected supreme heavenly venerate patriarchs. Although they had hidden very well, they had still been discovered by Yi Tianzong. The Heavenly Saints tribe was slightly weaker than the demon race, but they also had more than 6,300 heavenly venerates and 155 supreme heavenly venerates. In addition, they also had 3 perfected supreme heavenly venerates patriarchs. The Star Astral tribe's strength was similar to the demon races. They had more than 6,300 heavenly venerates, 162 supreme heavenly venerates, and 3 perfected supreme heavenly venerates patriarchs. According to the information Yi Tianzong had obtained from the 3 races, the overall strength of the 3 overlord races, the demon race, Heavenly Saints tribe, and Star Astral tribe, had not increased after so many eras. Instead, their overall strength had gradually decreased. Compared to when the 3 races had been at their peak, their current strength was at least 20% weaker. After a million years, the human race's strength had increased rapidly under the stimulation of the explosion of providence. Now, the number of heavenly venerates had reached 700. Among the supreme heavenly venerates, in addition to Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, Xin Yu, Void Supreme Heavenly Venerate, Xingyang Supreme Heavenly Venerate, Judy Supreme Heavenly Venerate, Wanlei Supreme Heavenly Venerate, Guyu Supreme Heavenly Venerate, and Taixian Supreme Heavenly Venerate. The 4 of them had all become 2nd-step Supreme Heavenly Venerates with the help of the 3 corpses after comprehending a sufficient level of nomological laws. After a million years of cultivation, Supreme Heavenly Venerate Void had advanced to the 5th-step Supreme Heavenly Venerate with the help of the Universal Flowing Crystal. Great Heavenly Venerate Xingyang had advanced to the 4th-step Supreme Heavenly Venerate. In addition, Yi Haoren, Yi Haoyun, Li Tsang, Yu Chen, Yuan Su, and 9 sons had all reached the limit of the Grand Empyrean realm after 1 million years of cultivation. Their comprehension of law had reached the threshold of the Supreme Empyrean realm. In at most a few dozen thousand years, they would be able to break through to the Supreme Empyrean realm. At that time, the human race would have 23 supreme heavenly venerables and more than 700 heavenly venerables. Their strength would be second only to the 3 overlord races. Time passed quickly and another 200,000 years passed in the blink of an eye. Yi Haoren, Su Mingxin, Yi Yuanshan, Yi Xianqin, Li Tsang, Yu Chen, Yuan Su, and 9 sons had all advanced to the 2nd-step Supreme Heavenly Venerate realm. Yi Haoren and the others were more powerful than Li Tsang and the others after their advancement because of the various top-notch treasures and resources provided by Yi Tianzong. They stood at the peak of the 2nd-step Supreme Heavenly Venerate realm. At that time, the number of Heavenly Venerate experts in the human race had increased to more than 760. The spirit forbidden extremis had not erupted for more than 300,000 years. According to the information he had obtained from the various races, Yi Tianzong estimated that the second stage of the exploration should be over. Next, the spirit forbidden extremis would enter the third stage, which would erupt every 600,000 years. Yi Tianzong estimated that there were still more than 130,000 years before the next eruption. Therefore, Yi Tianzong decided to make a move on the other races. He wanted to plunder more territories, resources, and providence to strengthen the human race. Yi Tianzong gathered the heavenly venerates and supreme heavenly venerates of the human race and told them his plan. Since the three overlord races would eventually harvest the providence of the current era, he might as well let the human race harvest it first. It would also strengthen the human race. Given the current strength of the human race, it would not be easy for the three overlord races to deal with them. Yi Tianzong and the other two were not just for show. If they could not get rid of Yi Tianzong and the other two and directly exterminated the human race, the four perilous lands would erupt at the last moment of the epoch. Countless chaos ferocious spirits would destroy all living beings in the world. Once Yi Tianzong and the other two caused trouble, the three overlord races would definitely suffer heavy losses. They might not even survive the next epoch. All the human race experts agreed to Yi Tianzong's suggestion. Since they had decided to make a move, they had to end the battle quickly and not drag it out. They had to end the battle in the shortest time possible. Therefore, all the supreme heavenly venerates and heavenly venerates of the human race were mobilized. Yi Tianzong and the other two would also take action personally. After 1,000 years of preparation, the human race attacked the remaining 12 races that were born in this epoch at the same time. Sky, cosmic, and world-shaking fortresses carried countless great emperors, godly kings, and heavenly soldiers into the territories of the 12 races. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Xin Yu each chose a race and directly found the supreme heavenly venerates of that race. Then, they attacked mercilessly and ended the battle within 3 moves. The heavenly venerates were also injured by the 3 of them. Most of them died. The remaining ones were left to the other human race, supreme heavenly venerate. After eliminating the supreme heavenly venerates of the 3 races, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu continued to attack. They found the foreign races' supreme heavenly venerates that were fighting with the human race's supreme heavenly venerates and quickly killed them. Then, they entered the river of time and destroyed their true spirits, eliminating the possibility of them being resurrected in the future. Under the human race's all-out attack, all the high-level experts of the 12 races were annihilated within a day. The remaining battles also ended within a year. The human race completely occupied the territories of the other 12 races, expanding their overall territory by more than 4 times. The strength of the human race in this battle shocked the ancient royal family, the 9 Heavens Phoenix clan, and the Sky Mighty Celestial clan. At the same time, it also attracted the attention of the demon race, the Heavenly Saints clan, and the Star Elves clan. Outside the endless demon abyss, dozens of supreme heavenly venerates of the demon race gathered. One of the supreme heavenly venerates of the demon race said angrily, "I really didn't expect the human race to grow to such an extent. There are more than 20 supreme heavenly venerates and more than 700 heavenly venerate. Now, most of the races born in this era have been seized by the human race. If I had known this would happen, I would have exterminated the human race as soon as possible. We miscalculated. I didn't expect the human race to grow to such an extent unknowingly. It's troublesome to exterminate the human race now. The chaotic ferocious spirits in the 4 lands of extremis are getting stronger and stronger. The Sky Mighty Celestial clan, the 9 Heavens Phoenix clan, and the ancient royal family are a bunch of trash. They can't stop the chaotic ferocious spirits at all. Once we exterminate the human race, we'll be attacked from both sides. We'll be in a very dangerous situation. Let's report this to the Patriarch and let him decide how to deal with the human race. Alright. It seems that we have no other choice. On this day, the human race was peaceful. The heavenly venerates of the human race were cultivating in seclusion. They were using the massive power of providence to comprehend more profound laws and improve their strength. All of a sudden, a boundless and powerful heavenly might shrouded the human race's territory outside the forbidden spirit extremis. Under this powerful heavenly might, the world fell silent and time froze. Even the supreme heavenly venerates of the void and the others felt endless pressure on their bodies. The mighty power that shook the world in their bodies was stagnant. Even the supreme heavenly venerates were in such a situation, let alone the heavenly venerates, great emperors and godly kings. All of them were like ants under the heavenly might. They trembled and couldn't move at all. In the heavens expanse heavenly palace, Yi Tianzong opened his eyes and looked at the distant horizon. Then, he stood up and took a step forward. When he reached the high heavens, a powerful heavenly might erupted from his body and swept across the universe. The human race's powerhouses who were trembling under the heavenly might suddenly felt a gentle power sweep past them. Time and space returned to normal and they also regained their ability to move. All the heavenly venerates and supreme heavenly venerates of the human race flew out of the fortress and looked at the two people who were confronting each other in the sky. One was the heaven's expanse holy man and the other was a mysterious powerhouse who was enveloped in a layer of ethereal black fog. However, no one could forget the supreme power that froze space-time and heaven and earth just now. Yi Tianzong looked at the rolling black fog in front of him and said, "Supreme Patriarch of the demon race, why have you come to the human race?" His clear voice reverberated in the universe and all the powerhouses of the human race knew who he was. I didn't expect you to be able to resist my heavenly might and even recognize me. It seems like the human race has many secrets, or rather, you're hiding a huge secret." The demon patriarch's face, which was hidden behind the black fog, was filled with shock and murderous intent. His identity was only known to the supreme heavenly venerates of the demon race, heavenly saints tribe, and star spirit tribe. Yet, a mere human who was only born a few billion years ago was able to identify him. This caused the demon patriarch to be filled with murderous intent and suspicion. Besides these, what shocked the demon patriarch the most was that he couldn't see through the human's cultivation level. This was the biggest problem. He was a perfected supreme heavenly venerate and the most powerful powerhouse in the greater world. If he couldn't see through the human's cultivation level, there were only two possibilities. Either the human's cultivation level was on par with him or he was stronger than him. The second scenario was impossible. The perfected supreme heavenly venerate was the limit of this world and there couldn't be anyone who surpassed it. In that case, there was only the first possibility. However, he couldn't accept the fact that a race that was born a few billion years ago could produce a supreme heavenly venerate who wasn't weaker than him. He used to be a supreme heavenly venerate of the demon race that was hard to come by in hundreds of millions of years. He had only become a perfected supreme heavenly venerate after going through 12 eras and countless hardship. However, a perfected supreme heavenly venerate had appeared in the human race, which he didn't take seriously at first. How could he accept this? While Yi Tianzong was confronting the demon patriarch, the patriarchs of the demon race, heavenly saints tribe, and star spirit tribe who had sensed the fluctuations also looked over from afar. Through the space-time, after seeing Yi Tianzong who was confronting the ancestor of the demon clan, they were all stunned. Then, their faces changed abruptly. They directly stood up from their respective secret space-time and rushed toward the forbidden spirit place. Chapter 459. Tian Yuan, Tian Xian, and Tian Chen from the Heavenly Saints tribe, Xing Hen, Xing Yun, and Xing Yao from the Star Spirit tribe, Mo Tian and Mo Yu from the Demon race, and Mo Ling ancestor who was standing in front of Yi Tianzong. The perfected supreme celestial venerables from the three overlord races were all present. A total of 9 supreme celestial venerables from the 3 overlord races crossed the unreachable spacetime and arrived above the spirit forbidden extremis in just a few breaths' time. The 9 of them were divided into 3 distinct groups, but all of them were staring at Yi Tianzong. Their gazes were aggressive, and their auras were ready to be unleashed. Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu appeared on both sides of Yi Tianzong after all the supreme celestial venerables from the 3 overlord races had arrived. Their bodies also erupted with supreme power that wasn't weaker than that of a perfected supreme celestial venerate. A total of 12 perfected supreme celestial venerables clashed with their auras and nomological laws in an instant. In the eyes of all the human race powerhouses, space-time suddenly froze and the boundless universe disappeared. Only the 12 supreme celestial venerables were left. They were the embodiment of the laws of heaven and earth, and they were the only ones in the world. If you want to know my secret, let's fight. If you win, I'll tell you. Humph. Yi Tianzong also knew that everything was in vain at the moment. Only strength was the ultimate standard to measure everything. Therefore, he directly invited them to fight and flew out of the world. The perfected supreme celestial venerables were too powerful and couldn't unleash their full power in the great thousand world. The chaos beyond the heavens was their battlefield. At their level of strength, they could come and go freely in the chaos regions affected by the heavenly way. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu flew toward the chaos beyond the heavens. The 9 supreme celestial venerables from the demon race, heavenly saints tribe, and star spirit tribe didn't hesitate either. They had to obtain the secret that allowed the human race powerhouses to possess such strength in such a short period of time. An unprecedented battle broke out in the chaos beyond the heavens. This was the strongest and most intense battle that had broken out in over 100 eras. If a battle occurred in the great thousand world of the myriad races, not only would one be suppressed by the heaven and earth, but one would also have to control one's strength to not damage the heaven and earth. Otherwise, one would be punished by the heaven Tao. Therefore, the battles between celestial venerables and supreme celestial venerables were completely controlled. Now that they were in the outer primal chaos, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, Shen Yu, and the 9 Wushang ancestors of the 3 overlords no longer had anything to worry about. They all let loose, and the battle scene was indescribable. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu fought against the 9 perfected supreme celestial venerables from the demon race, heavenly saints tribe, and star spirit tribe. The 12 of them charged into the chaos beyond the river of time and destiny. In the past, present, and future, there were 12 figures battling in every spacetime. They were like 12 chaos fiend gods that split the heavens and earth apart. Every move they made contained boundless nomological power that penetrated through spacetime and destiny, sweeping across the boundless chaos beyond the heavens. The boundless chaos beyond the boundaries shook and trembled in different ways in the intense battle between the 12 of them, as if it couldn't withstand the battle between the 12 chaos fiend gods. Countless worlds were opened up in the battle between the 12 of them, only to be destroyed by the merciless power in the next instant. The chaos airflow formed countless chaos windstorms due to the effects of the battle. The chaos windstorms swept across the chaos spacetime and spread even further, destroying all the worlds along the way. In the great thousand world of the myriad races, the aftermath of the battle in the chaos beyond the heavens struck the world barrier and shook continuously. The powerhouses of the demon race, heavenly saints tribe, star spirit tribe, human race, sky mighty celestial race, 9 heavens phoenix tribe, and ancient royal family were all looking at the chaos battlefield in shock. The powerhouses of the demon race, heavenly saints tribe, and star spirit tribe were full of confidence, while the powerhouses of the human race were worried. The powerhouses of the sky mighty celestial race, 9 heavens phoenix tribe, and ancient royal family had complicated expressions. In the chaos beyond the heavens, The battle became more intense and the scale of the battle became even greater. After the initial probing, Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu, as well as the 9 supreme celestial venerables of the demon race, Heavenly Saints tribe, and Star Spirit tribe, were all solemn. The 9 supreme celestial venerables of the demon race, Heavenly Saints tribe, and Star Spirit tribe had all gone through endless years and countless difficulties to cultivate. Every one of them was an experienced senior. Over the long years, they were very familiar with the various techniques of a perfected supreme celestial venerate. Their accumulation of supreme Tao energy was also extremely deep and immeasurable. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu had cultivated secret techniques that could continuously increase their strength, foundation, and potential since they were in the myth realm. From the first heaven of the myth realm to the 9th step of the supreme celestial venerate, they had absorbed unimaginable amounts of treasures and energy. With the endless resources in the immortal mansion, Yi Tianzong and the other 2 had accumulated tens or hundreds of times more than others in the same amount of time. In terms of strength, foundation, and accumulation, no one in the great thousand world of the myriad races could surpass them in the same realm. In addition, they had comprehended a variety of heaven and earth nomological laws, which made their true strength far beyond their realm. The 3 of them were now in the 9th step of the supreme celestial venerate realm, but their true strength was stronger than a perfected supreme celestial venerate who had comprehended 3 types of nomological laws. Therefore, in terms of strength, Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu were ranked 4th or 5th among the 9 supreme celestial venerables. Yi Tianzong was even stronger than Tian Yuan, Xinghen, and Mo Tian, who were the strongest of the 9 supreme celestial venerables. In this way, the 9 supreme ancestors of the devil race, Heavenly Saint tribe, and Star Spirit tribe had solemn expressions because they discovered that the 3 human experts were very powerful. Any of the 3 ancestors of the other races wouldn't be a match for them and wouldn't be able to gain any advantage. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu looked solemn because although they were stronger than the 3 patriarchs of any race, they were now facing 9 people. Although these 9 people were on guard against each other and couldn't work together, it was enough to suppress them. Everyone took out their weapons and an even more intense battle broke out. Everyone unleashed their full strength and engaged in a life-and-death battle in the boundless chaos. Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu were suppressed by the 9 patriarchs of the demon race, Heavenly Saints tribe, and Star Spirit tribe. However, just as Yi Tianzong had expected, these 9 people wouldn't work together to deal with them. Therefore, although the 3 of them were at a disadvantage, they were still able to exchange blows with the 9 people. Moreover, they still had a taboo divine ability, so they weren't worried that they would lose. The golden divine swords that moved unhindered and destroyed space and time split the boundless chaos and slashed towards the patriarchs of the demon race, Heavenly Saints tribe, and Star Spirit tribe. The silver divine swords of Ling Xinyue and Shen Yu also broke through the destiny space and time and killed the real bodies of their enemies. The 9 ancestors of the demon clan, Heavenly Saint clan, and Star Spirit clan also wielded their weapons and unleashed attacks that could destroy the chaos, attacking Yi Tianzong, Ling Xinyue, and Shen Yu. The 12 of them gradually became enraged, as if they were venting the world-destroying power that they hadn't been able to use for countless years. They threw themselves into the joy of fighting with all their might, twisting and turning in the boundless chaotic space and time. The range of the battlefield expanded again, and the boundless power and divine might spread for hundreds of millions of miles in the chaotic space. It shook the great thousand world of the myriad races, and the great thousand worlds' heavenly Tao affected the entire chaotic region. Countless small and medium worlds were affected, and they were powerless in the face of the supreme power that could easily split open the sky and destroy the world. In the great thousand world of the myriad races, all the heavenly venerables and supreme heavenly venerables of the various races came to the world barrier and watched the countless chaotic storms wreaking havoc outside the world. The aftermath of the power impacted the world barrier, causing the world to shake. Occasionally, space-time fragments would fly over, displaying the divine might of the battle between the 12 supreme heavenly venerables. A look of awe and yearning appeared in everyone's eyes. No one didn't want to have this kind of supreme power. No one didn't want to become a supreme existence in the world. The supreme heavenly venerables of the ancient royal family, 9 heavens Phoenix tribe, and sky-high celestial tribe couldn't hide the worry and disappointment in their eyes. They had originally thought that the reason the demon race, heavenly saints tribe, and star spirit tribe hadn't attacked their tribe was because of their strength. Now it seemed like a joke. Just the number of supreme heavenly venerables that appeared at the world barrier far exceeded their tribe. There were more than a dozen 6th-step, 7th-step, and 8th-step supreme heavenly venerables. It wasn't something their tribe could withstand. Not to mention the perfected supreme heavenly venerables that were fighting in the chaotic region. Each of the 3 overlord races had 3 perfected supreme heavenly venerables that only existed in legends. The strength of such existences was simply irresistible. They could eliminate a 7th-step supreme heavenly venerate in less than 20 moves. If they went all out, they could completely seal a 7th-step supreme heavenly venerate in less than 10 moves. Then, they could completely obliterate a 7th-step supreme heavenly venerate in 100 years. Even the sky-high celestial tribe, which had experienced 4 eras, had never seen a perfected supreme heavenly venerate, let alone know if they existed. Now they had seen them. It wasn't just 1 or 2, but 12 of them. They were fighting in the boundless chaotic region. This sudden change destroyed all the fighting spirit and hope of the sky-high celestial tribe, 9 heavens Phoenix tribe, and ancient royal family. Only after becoming a supreme heavenly venerate would one know how long and arduous it was to take to advance one step further. The further one advanced, the more difficult it would be. It was normal for one to not be able to advance for an entire era. However, in the same world, why would there be 3 perfected supreme heavenly venerables in the human race that had only been born for a few billion years? Could the human race really have some incredible secret?